Hello, Chanel.
Hello.
How are you? I guess
Good,
that
how are you? Sorry.
everything is good. So far, so good. So we have about 4 minutes, 2 minutes. So we have presenters. Let's see who else is with us. Let me see on the attendees. We have Marina Martinez so far. And okay. Let's wait a few more minutes to see who else is going to come. We have Cynthia. Let's see who else. Give me 1 second. Let me get some water. Okay, so we have, let's see. Stephen. Okay, who else is? 13 participant, all right. All right. So, good evening, everyone. Let's call the meeting to order. Very good. Good evening, everyone. My name is Faye Florimon, Chair of the Youth and Education Committee. I would like to welcome all of you and thank you for attending our meeting number 2 for this year, 2023. Today is Monday, February 13, and this meeting has been called to order at 7:01 p.m. So just for the record, I would like to ask all my colleague committee members to introduce themselves.
Hello, good evening, everyone. This is Luis Cruz, member of the Youth and Education Committee.
Thank you, Luis.
Hi, everybody. This is Maria Luna, also member of this board and this committee. Welcome to everybody. And let's have a productive meeting tonight.
Thank you, Maria. Members, identify yourself, please, for the record.
Hi, everyone. This is Jacob Bannis, member of the Youth and Education Committee.
Thank you, Jacob. Next. Youth and Education Committee members, Steven, Domingo?
Hey, I already said it. Domingo
Oh, you
Estevez.
did it? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. All right, let's see who else we have. We don't have Guillermo with us. I understand that Jonathan would be absent. He's out of the country, so he would be excused. And okay, let me put excuse. All right. All right, so let's proceed with the unfolding of the agenda. As you have already seen, we're gonna have two presentations. The first presentation, and we're gonna have student from Wheels. They would be presenting and creating school streets, centering in youth environmental justice. At the end of the presentation, we are gonna have the opportunity, as usual, to have questions. And remember, members of the committee will have the opportunity to ask questions first. We will start with members first, and then we switch it to the general public. Following the presentation, we're gonna have guests from the school square to charter school. They will be presenting as well. And as at the end of the presentation, we all will have the opportunity also to ask questions, same rules. So during the all in new business, which is the phase number 4 of our agenda, anyone from the public committee members will have the opportunity to share any community event that they would like to announce, or any other things that pertaining to the interests of the community. And of course, at the end of all in new business, we are going to adjourn the meeting. So I would like to, for the record, just to start our agenda, and I would like to call for the student from Wheel to share their presentation. I understand, I believe that Genesis won't be presenting, but I think that someone else would be representing her. I think it's Talia, if I'm not mistaken. But in any event, the student for Wheel, the floor is yours, and I want to thank you for choosing our committee to present. And by the way, I think it would be fair for me to before the student of Wheel step in, I wanna share a few information that I think it would be interesting and relevant to share, with everyone. I wanted to congratulate them, because actually just find out that in this year, 2022, the Wheel school. I wanted to say that first of all, for those who may not aware, this school is located at 511 West 182nd Street. And Wheel has been ranked number 169, okay, within New York State. A student have the opportunity to take the advanced placement, coursework and exam. The participation rate at Washington High Expeditionary Learning School, also known as Wheel, has been rated 95%. So the total minority enrollment is 97%, and 86% of the students are, according to the report, economically disadvantaged. So Wheel is one of 542 high schools in New York City that has been in that ranking. So I wanted to say congratulations to that. I think that's a B+. So without any further ado, I just wanted to conceal the floor to the Wheel student. And thank you again.
Hi, everyone. I'll be sharing my screen. I'm Talia, and I'll be leading some of the presentation we're doing tonight. So just give me a second and let me share my screen.
Sure.
Thank you. All right, is everyone able to see that?
It's loading, yeah.
All right, is it still loading?
Yes, that's
Oh,
what it says.
Sorry about that. See.
Well, it's just require a little patience, so hopefully, I guess the system is too slow. Let's see. Maybe you want to close it and share and try it again?
Yeah, I'll try it again. Sorry about that.
Yes, no, don't worry about it. There you go. Oh, went off again.
All right, let's see.
Sally, it might be when you go into present mode. That's the issue, because we see it when you're before you do that.
Okay, just give me a second. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, does that work right now?
Yes,
Okay, cool. Thank you for your patience.
you're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, so my name is Thalia. I would like to thank the Youth and Education Committee for having us tonight. My pronouns she, her, they, them. I'm a lead environmental coordinator at Wheels and also Futures Ignite. Futures Ignite is a community organization that's formerly known as Friends of Wheels. This was created by community members and teachers to create a program for our youth at Wheels where we can support in amplifying and also supporting youth in determining their college, career, and leadership futures. So a lot of the work that we do is just, college prep, also youth enrichment programs where students can be able to like discover and like also participate in like programs where they can like excel like their leadership role. And I've been here since October of last year. So I've been at Wheels for about 4 months. I'm still learning with everyone. And yeah, some of the work that I do in my role is to support our youth through the Clean Air Green Corridor, which is a presentation we'll be doing on. The Clean Air Green Corridor is basically a youth-led project to have youth be empowered on advocating changes and also agency and being leaders in their environmental and racial justice issues in regards to like Wheels and like the Washington Heights community. A lot of the work that we do is to like support young people to feel empowered and also be able to believe that they are able to transform like the communities. So yeah, I'll go on to the next slide. So a bit of grounding, just our location, we're in Northern Manhattan. A bit of history is that people of color have been excluded from like making decisions in regards to like land use, which has resulted in schools being close to like highways and also locations that are like, can cause a lot of health issues. So for example, Wheels has been one of the schools that have been adjacent to many of the highways, such as the Washington Bridge, Harlem River Drive, the Trans-Manhattan Expressway. Many of these highways and expressways have resulted in community members and also our young people to have poor air quality, including just the poor access to like green spaces and, just with a lot of cars going around, also a safety issue. All right. And I'll pass it now to Noelia. Noelia, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yay, okay, cool.
Thank you, Dalia, for passing it on to me. Thank you, everyone who's here tonight. I'm a senior at Wheels. I was born and raised in Washington Heights, and I'd like to thank the chair of youth and for the youth committee for inviting myself and my peers to this presentation. Today, we'll focus on the clean energy corridor, like Dalia mentioned, and then we'll talk about the importance of school streets and how we see the transportation committee, the education committee, youth committee, helping us to reach our vision. So before we get started, I'd like to go over our agenda. So first, we'll go over our long-term vision of creating a clean energy corridor on 182nd Street. We recognize that seniors have presented before, so we would like to keep this introduction short. And then we'll go over some of the research that youth leaders at Wheels have collected during the summer and programs that have been used for protecting and creating more green spaces in our community. Then we'll talk about our goals for spring and summer of 2023. And then we'll talk about creating school street through the through Open Streets program. And then finally, we'll end this presentation with how we see this committee supporting our goals. So to start off, I want to clearly define what the Clean Energy Corridor is. It's a youth-led initiative empowering Black and Brown youth from Washington Heights Exposition Learning School and reimagining how streetscapes of Washington Heights can transform into hubs for building community power, climate change resilience, and intergenerational outdoors and environmental education. So this initiative was originally born in 2017 by Wheels teacher Dr. Fox with the help of Mr. Espin, who I currently am a student in his class. Students learn about the history and importance of green space, the neglect of High Ridge Park, the systematic barriers to green space in our neighborhood.
Can you speak a little lighter, please? I'm sorry about the interruption, but could you speak a little louder?
Oh, yes. Is this
Please.
better?
Go ahead.
So, since then, we are
Good.
students. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, it's good.
Okay. I'd like to pass it on to Anais now.
Hi, my name is Anais, and since then, we as students and alumni are working towards transforming all of 182nd Street from Amsterdam to Broadway into a walkable, car-free green corridor without cars, so that all students, teachers, and neighbors in our community can enjoy a safe, clean, and healthy community to live, learn, work, and play. And it is important to note and to highlight that there are 5 other schools, apartment buildings, small businesses, and street vendors on 182nd Street. And we understand that the various stakeholders on 182nd Street and that this vision cannot be done if there isn't support and leadership from the whole community. And now I would like to pass it on to Brenda.
Thank you, Anais. My name is Brenda. I am a junior at Wheels. I will now talk about some of the community science research that we had conducted over the summer and during our after-school programs. So this past summer, me and 10 other Wheels students worked with college students from Columbia University's biology program to conduct research at our local parks, High Bridge Park and Sherman Creek. We learned about biodiversity and water quality and collected data that allowed us to understand how healthy and safe these spaces are in our community. On top of the work we did in the park, we also created community surveys where we asked people in the community how they feel about existing green spaces and how it relates and its relation to mental health and why we chose to visit Highbridge Park. These are some of the results we got on our community surveys. The graph that's blue shows all of the locations where people were at when they were answering the surveys, and the green graph shows how old survey participants were. Some of the questions we asked were, how well does this park meet your needs? How happy do you feel right now in this park/street? How uncomfortable or stressed do you feel right now in this street or park? Some of the responses are here that we got are having to walk our dog just to enjoy myself. I'm feeling very good coming here and I don't feel uncomfortable at all.
Hi, once again, to properly introduce myself, my name is Anais Martinez and I'm a junior at Wheels. So during the summer, we did like multiple data collecting, one being taken in Sherman Creek. And my project was based on water quality and biodiversity in Sherman Creek. We mostly collected our data in the water and try to measure how salty the water is by using special tools. And this is important because by keeping these species healthy, it can create and maintain diversity around in the ecosystem. Also, the healthier the animals, the better the ecosystem is. So protecting it is very crucial to helping the environment. And if the ecosystem is off because the species is not doing well, this impacts everything else. So in the next slide, this is the chart that would help us understand about how biodiversity can be affected by water salinity. In this graph, we are measuring two things. The dependent variable is the biodiversity and the independent is the water quality. Each point on the graph represents the total number of unique bird species we saw last year and the corresponding salinity at Sherman Creek. We created a line of best fit to find a potential relationship. And so based on that line, we could see that there is a negative relationship between the two, which then means that as water salinity increases, the number of bird species decreases. But if the salinity decreases, then the number of bird species increases. And so I would like to pass it on to Carlos.
Thank you, Anais. Hello, everyone. My name is Carlos. I am a junior at Wheels. I will be discussing our current work in after school. This program is for 11th and 12th graders at Wheels interested in environmental justice, science, and community engagement. JCL youth leaders have been trained on issues related to water, sanitation, extreme heat, and air quality. In groups, we are preparing workshops for 8th graders and 10th graders at our school to train students on these concepts so they can become the next youth leaders for the Clean Air Green Corridor. Aside from GCL for 11th graders and 12th graders, 9th graders and 10th graders at Wheels have the opportunity to join Stu Crew, where they lead street cleanups of 182nd Street and learn about trees and the importance they bring to our community. Some of the members of Stu Crew have identified litter problems on 182nd Street. Some of these problems are illegal dumping, littering in the streets. There are a few trash cans along 182nd Street for community members to dispose of their trash/litter. Along 182nd Street, there are empty tree pits and often used as a space to dispose of trash. There's also toxic waste that impacts people's health. Now I will pass it back to Noelia.
Thank you, Carlos. So it's important to note that since October 2022, To this day, Sucru has done 8 street cleanups and has collected over 320 pounds of trash so far with the support of the NYC Cleanup Initiative grant that we have received from our council member Carmen de la Rosa. So in the next slide, this shows and maps out data every week. So this is how Sucru collects and maps out data every week using an app called ArcGIS Field Maps. As you can see in the maps on this side, here are a few spots where trash and litter has been mapped out. The point of the mapping the litter along 182nd is for youth leaders to identify patterns of the hotspot when it comes to litter and share this data with our community in order to take action. In addition to mapping out the litter hotspots on 182nd, we also weigh the trash bags we collect weekly using a luggage scale. This graph shows the progress we have made so far. We are continuing to collect this data and hope to identify a pattern by the end of the school year. And now I will pass it back to Carlos.
Thank you, Noelia. Now I'll be talking about our short-term vision for the Clean Air Green Corridor, which is our school street/school plaza. So we want to take our school block from Amsterdam Avenue to Audubon Avenue and turn it into a space for education. These are some photos of some of our programming during our 2022 Open Street. We led climate and environmental justice workshops for students and community members. We led a community visioning event where members of our community told us what they wanted to see on 182nd Street. We invited community organizations to share resources about their programs to parents and students. We even had a community science expo where students shared their research. We also know that our street can be a space for fun and relaxation. In some of the programming, we have had set up games and places for students to sit and talk and enjoy the time with friends and family. Now we'll pass it back to Noelia.
Thank you, Carlos. Now I will talk about why our initiative for having a school street will be beneficial to the WHEEL students and teachers and the broader community of Washington Heights. 1. Research has shown that green space makes us healthier and happier. A February 2020 study found that children and young people are happier when they feel connected to nature and the outdoors. Spending time outdoors on a regular basis can have positive effect on youth development and mental health. 2. Outdoor teaching also offers the opportunity to expand education goals with hands-on place-based learning activities. Establishing safe spaces around schools can transform school environments into healthier, more resilient school communities. Now I will pass it on to Carlos.
Thank you. 3. A 2018 study created by Localize found that an alarming number of traffic crashes are affecting people and bikers near schools. We believe limiting traffic near schools can help create safer spaces for kids, parents, and teachers as they walk and bike near school. And lastly, we want more spaces as seniors to just exist in. Teenagers make up roughly 1 million New Yorkers. There are not many public and open green spaces for us. Sometimes we are seen as a problem when we are in public spaces. We are often the victims of legal, spatial, and social restrictions that limit our ability to be ourselves in public spaces. Therefore, a school street on our school block can become another youth affirming and safe space.
Thank you, Noelia, Brenda, Anais, and Carlos. For that wonderful presentation on just like what we've been doing here at Wheels. Some of the support we wanted to get from the Youth and Education Committee is that in order to reach our vision, we need help. And some of that committee resolution consists of support a school street for Wheels and IS 143 school, along the 182nd Street clearing corridor. And also request collaboration between Department of Transportation and the 34th Precinct to enforce a temporary full street closure permit for 2023 open street season, since we'll be doing a lot of like street activities, block parties, so we can share more information on the vision of the cleaner green corridor. Yeah, and that's a wrap. If anybody has questions, I'm also putting down our information, Genesis, who's the leadership and enrichment manager, and myself as the lead environmental coordinator.
Thank you.
For having us.
Thank you, Talia. Yes, we appreciate your appreciation very much, and the update and this wonderful initiative that you had started many years ago, and I see the progress. Thank you very much. Before we start with the question, I would like to ask Chanel, can you promote Julio Batista and Stephanie Caban, please? Yes. Thank you. Yes, well, members, as I said, I would like to give our members, committee members, and also board members the opportunity to ask questions first. I wanted to thank Julio Batista, Callie from Land and Use, Benjamin Wayne, that is with us as well. Let's see who else is with us that I may have probably not seen yet. Gina Salcedo is with us. All right, so everyone attending, so thank you. So members, questions. Domingo Esteves. Yes, Domingo.
Yeah, so my question is around, again, right, engaging stakeholders. As somebody who works in one of the schools at 182nd, this is a project that is being sought from Amsterdam to Broadway. My only concern is that while yes, it might be well-intentioned, I feel that folks are not being engaged to be able to engage in these type of conversations and transforming the community like that. So I think it's going to be important prior to requesting any sort of resolutions for the stakeholders from that vicinity to be outreached to. And that's my only concern. It seems like a very well thought out project. My only concern is that it cannot be done by just within the school alone, and not necessarily reach out to the entire community.
Thank you, Domingo. Members, anybody else? Yes, Maria.
Thank you so much, Faye and the group. We have heard this presentation before, and I'm sure that they are improving. I don't know if the sound is okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yes. My concern is that this project, since it's a street project, is going to be taking place within the spring, summer months and fall, nothing in the winter. Now, another concern, very serious concern that I have is the location near 184th Street, that transportation problem that we have within that particular area. I don't think that it's going to be able to close permanently a street that is really, a tunnel for people who are coming from the Bronx, making turns and things like that. So, I mean, we have to be careful how we present projects that impact in the daily life of the people who are not only living around there, but also attending that school. Now, my last, this is going to be a question to all of the presenters. You are all students at Wills? And if so, do you know the name of the school that you are attending? Because I urge all of you to go to the library and to Google the name of the person, the woman that the school is named after, read her bio, see what type of leadership she was, leaders that she was, and something that we should be asking all of you, all of these new leaders or the future leaders to follow her steps. So I'm just, you talk about will, but I think the name of the school and also the name of the school 132. And you also go to the library, as I said, get the bios of these two people and learn from there, because they were great samples of what leadership is all about, not just cleaning, street and things like that. That should be really commendable by all of you. But I think that we should know what our roots are. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Maria. Anybody else? Domingo, you do have another question? Domingo?
No, I think I lowered it.
Okay, all right. Jacob, yes.
I wish I had, excuse me. I wish I had a good question. I'm struggling to think of one. I thought that was a very thorough presentation, and just wanted to thank all of the students for presenting to us. You all presented very well, and for young people, even for me as an older young person, if you will, that's a skill that doesn't come easy. You did great, and this was very informative. Thank you.
Thank you. Who else may have a question? Wayne, yes, Wayne.
Hi, I don't have a question. I do have a comment and somewhat in follow-up to the comments made by Domingo and Maria, and for that matter, Jacob as well. I mean, I agree. It was a well thought out presentation, and I think the next step and the next series of steps are, would answer the points raised by Domingo and Maria. It's like, how do you go about implementing and making real the vision of the proposal that you have on paper? And that means, who else do you need to talk to? How does the plan need to be, modified, massaged, tweaked in response to the things that you hear, so that there is, greater buy-in and greater participation, and more people feel ownership of the initiative?
Yes, that's a great question altogether. I don't know if Talia wanted to add anything else.
No, I appreciate a lot of the feedback, and also the appreciation to our students here at Wheels. I think the conversation in regards to community engagement and also incorporating community members is still talk that we're having. So it is still in the works, and we're thinking about how to engage other schools along the 182nd Street. But I think right now what we're focusing a lot is just the open street that we have at Wheels, and just how we can share that information within Wheels for students and teachers and staff, and also the IS 143 community. So no, I hear everyone, and I think again that's something that we want to work on and still think about. Thank you all.
Thank you. I do have a few questions, but I wanted to give the opportunity to one of the attendees, Marina Martinez. I think she has a question. I don't know if she would be able to hear her. Marina Martinez, she has a question. Yes, Marina.
No, I don't have a question. I want to just thank Talia and the students for the presentation. And I think that they demonstrate that this school is working really hard for young people to be advocates in the community, because look at what they're doing, making sure that we have a safe environment to help out, not to be the people that they make a difference, instead of them telling the community has these situations, these problems, they part of the solution. So I love that information, because they came out with different situations that the community is passing through, and at the same time they making it happen, and that way we have a better community.
Thank you.
Congratulations for the staff and the students. Great job, guys.
We appreciate it, Marina. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So let's see, anybody else? Let's see before I ask a question. All right. Well, I guess with all this compliment that you have received, all I have to say is that I joined them collectively. And yes, I do have, several questions that I actually feel curious about. So one of the questions that I have is that I understand that each student takes different tasks, and that's how the whole project is divided. Everyone, do their part. So I wanted to ask any one of you in your part, in your interaction with the community, in your effort to bring this project, to establish this project or make it a reality. First of all, I would like to ask, has the little problem diminished as a result of your consistent work, or remained the same, since you started? Talia, did you hear me?
Yeah, I just wanted to wait and see if any of our students want to answer.
Because I'm sure that you guys are taking track of, of your progress, because 182nd, especially between the block of Audubon and St. Nicholas, it's one of the hottest area in the entire, street to work with, I assume, from what I had witnessed. And we know all the kinds of activity, not the best, that anyone may wanted to encounter with or work with. It's hard. That block is hard, because at least from St. Nicholas to, let's say, up to Broadway, you have your schools, you have, you don't see that many folks and the negative environment that actually, and the threat that even is posed in that street. So I'm wondering if, as a result of your, continued effort to keep the street clean and bringing different dynamics, if that has, diminished. And I wanted to say also, before I continue with the rest of the question, in case that you might be able to answer some of them, you may not have to answer those questions if you don't have the answer, or if you don't feel sure whether or not to provide an answer. You can always get back to us, because it's a reason for asking those questions. So to know exactly how we can come up with, ideas, and how we can help you, to fulfill the materialization of these projects. So the second is that, which city agency are helping you the most, or at least helping you, and who may still in a standby, have you waiting. If you can share that information openly, would be much appreciated.
Thank you. Just in regards to support from city agencies, we have a lot of support from Carmen de la Rosa, and also, I think that's most that I know of. I think this would be a question for Jen, or Leadership and Enrichment Manager, since they've been here for a while, and just me being like here for 4 months, I'm still learning. So yeah, that's all I know so far. Yeah, I wish I can say more. Yeah.
No, I understand. That's all you know. That's all we take. So, but I think it's if you can also take note, although this is recording meeting, and you can always go back to YouTube, you also will receive our, link. so you can revise and get back to us, whenever you can. So it will be very helpful to know who exactly is trying. You had asked for assistance and you were still waiting or had help you besides, council members, De La Rosa. So I also would like to know, in the same effort to bring all this, this project to a fruitful, I would say, outcome, have your student been confronted with anyone, opposing to what you are doing, or threatening you, or making your effort had it in that street? Like if you have any kind of public confrontation as a result of what you are doing.
Yeah, well, just in regards to like the work that our young people have been doing at Wheels, some of the positions that I can't think of is just like, community, like members who may have cars, just like with parking space. So like how to like figure out like the parking space situation, also like the intersect of like an open street. Yeah, that's what I can think of right now. But other than that, no one has like done like any threats or nothing like that. It's just like issues in regards to like, where can I park my car with this vision, which is something that we're also trying to like work on and talk with our community members and also like teachers as well. Just like how to like, how can this open street be beneficial to our young people and community members here, and not just, like a parking space. So some of that comes from like creating like workshops and like block parties to like provide that vision that, this is possible and everyone can benefit from it. Yeah.
Extending on that, Talia, like there have been some encounters like where we're closing the street down for block parties, and we like hang up posters beforehand before we close the street for people to move out of there to like know that in this specific day we're going to close down the street and we're going to need you to park somewhere else, so the street can be cleared so we can have the block party and have everything to the fullest, right? There have been times where the posters have been ripped off where we tape them. And it's not like we tape them only in 2 places in the whole entire block. We put it in everywhere, any spot that we can see to notify everybody that parks in that space. And there have been times where people have taken it down or ripped it to seem like we never put it there.
Okay, that's good to know. And another question is, have you invited other school to, like, for example, you have IS 132 Juan Pablo Duarte, you have also PS 528, if I'm not mistaken. And even IS 143, the students, like, at least to keep you company while you doing all this work on the street. And also if you have any adult company supervising your activity.
From what I know, just like in regards to like my time at Future Ignites and at Wheels, just being there in the community, we have not like from what I know, like had outreach with like other schools in regards to like talking about the Clean Green Corridor, like block parties. But I can get back to you more, just if I can connect with Jen, just in regards to if they have more like experience with like past organizing with like the other schools. Yeah. Thank you, Faye.
You're welcome. So to just, the next is going to be a comment, but the very last question that, It seems to me that things are going well so far. But I also wanted to say that perhaps you may have admitted all the things that you wish, but you have rather given priority to the things that you said that we're going to discuss last about, you know, the resolution that you mentioned. But I wonder that besides that, as the assistant that you are asking in terms of to, you know, for in that resolution, I wonder what is any, if we can call it like the biggest challenge that you feel that your project is holding your project to really move smoothly and, you know, and just get materialized. If it's only what you ask in the resolution, then I think everything is not a bigger thing. But other than that, or besides that, what would be that?
I can only speak for myself. If also if Carlos, Brenda, Anais, and Noelia want to share as well. I think the only issue that I'm seeing is just like the situation with like having like a full open closure, where like cars are not on the street. So there's programming that can be done throughout the block parties and also like community events. So I'm just speaking for myself. Yeah. If anybody else wants to share.
All right. Well, I appreciate whatever you have been able to answer, and but I will remain hopeful that we will find an answer to all those things that, you know, the question that I just asked, so I can find way along with my colleagues, so we all, you know, the board can find ways in which we can help you, you know, best. So now on your resol that you are requesting, so I understand that the reason why you are asking for this resol is to support your school street for both your school and IS 183, because of course you co-located, and they both will benefit for the from this project, and not only both school but also the entire, you know, vicinity, I would say. You also are asking that to request collaboration between the DOT and the 34 to enforce temporary full street closure permit for this year to open this session, I guess, whenever you, I don't know if it's summer or spring, whatever, but I guess summer probably, or whenever you decide under your discretion. So my question regarding this, I wonder if you have already have a conversation, your school had any conversation with DOT and the 34 prison, and if you had also mentioned those needs to the Councilwoman De La Rosa, because she can also can move things probably faster than a resolution. But this is not denying or saying that we are not able to, but it's just out of curiosity, because I think that would be wise to think about, since these are the main folks that you are mentioned, that you would like, they the one who can make that happen. I wondered if you had any conversation, your school, not you personally, but your school, you know, with these folks, DOT and the 34 prison. And if you had, what exactly have they said?
Yeah, so I've learned that in the past, the school has had conversations with the 34 precinct, just in regards to the open street, if there was like a way to like enforce that full closure. But from what I've heard is that there's been a lot of like responses based on that the 34 precinct can't do any of that, just because it's not in the budget, and that it costs money to like enforce that full closure. So that's what I know.
And DOT?
DOT, we've attended some of like the sanitation committee with Carmen De La Rosa. But from what I don't know, like the conversations with Department of Transportation.
And when exactly those conversations took place?
In regards to which one, sorry.
Yeah, you desire to get a permit for the street.
I don't have the answer, sorry about that.
Because if it's something recent, let's say that this year in January or late last year, so that is still in the infant stage. And I highly suggest that we definitely would like to know more about your petition with DOT and the 34 prison. I can also ask myself the 34 prison, you know, just out of curiosity and you know, just to find out or test the water. But I think it's very important to find out if you ask them formally or was just a casual phone call. Listen, we need to close the tree, or you actually wrote an email, send a letter, especially a letter explaining your intention. And, you know, that would be very helpful. And CC in any kind of, in any contact that you may have with this agency, is very important that your school CC the council member. And I will say that if you kindly want to CC the board, so the board can take note of what is going on. So when situation like this kind of a type of encounter in which you come to present, so we know what is going on and what we can do, you know, what we can do best. So in regard for this committee to pass a resolution, I don't think that we may have any objection, but I think that we need more concrete information so we can base our support on whatever information we can get, because just to come up with a solution saying that we're supporting this, we need more facts about this. Yes. So, and I guess these are my questions. Yes, Maria. Maria, I think it has a question. Domingo and also Jacob. Yes, Maria.
Let me unmute because I think we are missing something here. Last week, I believe that this presentation was this group contacted the transportation committee of our community board, and we made some suggestions. Tali, I believe that you were online. We suggested that you contact the 34 prison, that there is many issues, very serious issues regarding this particular plan, which is fantastic. It's fantastic. But as I said before, parking, transportation, that channel, that tunnel area for the flow of traffic from the Bronx and, you know, the surrounding areas have to be addressed. We cannot just have a resolution in support or no support or something like this, because there is a lot of homework that has to be done. And I know that I'm just, as a person that is my, you know, not too young, recommendations are important. And I think that we need to focus more on the impact on the media community. It's not just the youth and building leadership that we have to be concerned about. Transportation is, you know, is an agency, very serious transportation. Sanitation, you are taking responsibility for sanitation, where there is something that they are responsible to keep our street and our buildings and the landlords and things like that, all those areas clean. And then lastly, I don't want to be, you know, nasty or negative, but I think that we also have to look, your group, you have to focus on looking on maybe using the parks area. We have, if you can adopt an area, the High Bridge Park is a lengthy park there. And you have to, instead of, you know, well, I'm not saying not to do it, but also to look to uses of the park areas that we have to this type of activities. And when you talk about having strict parties and things like that, not everybody is going to be happy having closing street to have entertainment in our sidewalks or in the middle of the street. So just be realistic. You know, you are doing a fantastic work. And one thing that I have to stress on you, scholarship studies, you need to make sure that you have a plan from you graduate from that school, what you're going to do in the future, because that is going to be, this is the present, and that is going to probably be part of your, you know, in the past. So please, you know, just look at the many areas that you have to focus on. It's not just one block and two blocks and two particular schools. And believe me, one thing that I have to tell you, you're not gonna like it, find the biography of the two people that those tools are named after. They are important people for our centuries and people for our history. Thank you so much. I am, that's what I have to say.
Thank you, Maria. So before I call Jaco and then Domingos, I wanted to allow other members to identify themselves. Guillermo, I think already has joined us. Just for the record, Guillermo, just identify yourself.
My name is Guillermo Perez, and I'm a public member of the
Youth and
this committee, Youth and Education Committee. And I excuse myself because being late, I was at a doctor appointment. I thought it's gonna be completed before the start of the meeting, but I'm here, I'm listening, and I should have some question later. Thank you.
Apology accepted. Thank you. Yes, Jaco and then Domingo, please.
Talia, I have a question for you, which is, I hear the concerns of my fellow board members here. Personally, I'm a bit of a dreamer. I'd feel like there's no reason we couldn't make this happen if we really got behind it. And I really support the notion of giving some outdoor space back to our students. My question for you is, I'm not an expert here. I'm doing some Googling on the side and looking up the rules and regulations about the New York City DOT Open Streets program. My understanding is that the deadline to apply for an open street for July 1st of this year would be April 14th. So has this application actually been submitted to New York DOT yet, or are you looking for our support before you make that application?
Yeah, thank you, Jacob. So the application with DOT has been submitted. That's the process right now. So it's all been submitted, yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think that makes a difference in terms of whether we're being asked to support something in theory or something that's actually in motion. And I did have another point. What was it? I don't know. Never mind. Thank you.
You sure you don't have another question, Jacob?
I think it's gone.
Well, if come back to you, just let me know. Yes, Domingo.
Again, I think there's a slight disconnect because I feel like there is a lot of concerns around the resolution based on people's inputs. Again, right, as an organization, especially a organization that is a community-based organization, community outreach is very important. So you can't bypass intention. You can't bypass reality with intentions. Like, hey, this is a good intention project. Therefore, the community is going to automatically buy in without necessarily doing the proper engagement to see if that's actually a need that the community has. And while, yes, it is great as somebody who is a youth advocate, it is great to create safe spaces for youth, but how are we going to create a safe space if the community is already rejecting this, which is constantly going to create an atmosphere of what the youth are talking about, people putting down their posters, back and forth during when the streets are closed with motorists, right? So I think it's very important not to do stuff preemptively, but to make sure that all the check boxes are checked and that the proper community engagement is done, because if not, this organization is setting up these kids to fail. And I think that's pretty messed up on the organization's part, because what you're going to do is create a hostile environment for something so positive for these kids.
Thank you, Domingo. I don't know if not, Talia may have any comments or, in this regard. All right. No comment. That's a very valid point. Yes, well, yes. So, Marina, do you have a question, or is that you left your hands up?
Oh, no. I just I just have a comment and I addressed it already.
You already did it. All right. Okay.
Thank you so much.
So you may want to lower your hand to avoid confusion, please.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
Jaco, I'm getting back to you. Did it come to you, the question? Or did the question came to you? No? Okay. All right. So, well, I guess that
Bien, aquí ya terminando Olimpiada.
hello, Louis. Louis, do you have a question? All right, I guess that that was an error. All right. Well, Talia and your team, and on our behalf, my entire committee and my my colleague board members want to thank you for this wonderful presentation. You know that you always can count with our support, and again, I want to reiterate that it's important for us to gather more facts in terms of those desires that you have when it comes to a resolution, and keep us posted and any decision in terms of if you want to contact directly, as I say, or as suggested, with DOT and the 34. If you want to write them a letter to revise the conversation, kind of like, getting back to them to see what exactly where the petition or your request, you pose, is doing. And we would be glad if you can CC all or include us, on that letter, UCC us and UCC council member as well. So thank you again, you and your team, and we look forward to continue this conversation. Thank you for the great work you are doing.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. By the way, you're welcome to stick around so you can witness the next presentation from Tech. So I know you guys probably are colleagues, so it's good if you have the time. So you're welcome to stick around. Yes, thank you again. All right, guys. Our next presentation. So as you know, we're gonna have a presentation from. We're gonna hear our guest presenter are Evans Meyers, who is the founding and executive director, and Cynthia Carrion, Chief Program and Engagement Officer at the School of in the Square too, and Dos Amigos. So they will be presenting in the School in the Square High School, which is located at the 500 West 181st Street. So I wanted just to say that for the record, I wanted to thank them, because one thing that I wanted to that I applaud them is that one of the things that the board, it's all the way looking at this kind of initiative or proposal is whether or not the party had involved the community. And I know that your school already engaged the community by providing a public hearing not too long ago. I was invited. Unfortunately, I couldn't attend, but I wanted to share that information because I think for the purpose of this discussion, I think it's very important that my colleagues and anyone listening to us get to know that indeed that was the first step that your school took upon, just to give the opportunity or give the community the opportunity to so they can actually get to know your intention, and so they can provide their input. So I just wanted to consume the floor and welcome. So by all means, please.
Thank you, everyone. I look forward to telling you some more about our work. And I have my two colleagues here, Cynthia Carrion and Gira Salcedo, who will be the principal of the new high school. They will be sharing all of the specifics of our new proposed school. To repeat, my name is Evan Myers. I'm the executive director of School in the Square. I started 7 years ago. The middle school is located at 120 Wadsworth on the corner of 179th Street. I'd like to thank the committee for giving us this opportunity to engage with you, answer every question, and have you understand more about our project. We've had the pleasure of presenting on this committee before and have always appreciated the warm welcome that we've received. Just as an overview, School in the Square is named after that image of the public square.
Evan, sorry, Evan. Faye, can you allow me to share my screen? And hi, everybody.
Yes, let me ask Chanel. Chanel, can you possibly allow Cynthia to share, their screen, please?
And sorry, Evan, I just wanted, as you're talking, I just wanted to provide the.
It's okay.
Listen,
Chanel, you with us?
looking at a visual rather than my mug, that sounds like a good plan.
Chanel?
Yes, you should be
Oh, she
able to
did.
share now.
Thank you.
Yeah, Cynthia wanted to. Yeah, please help her.
There
Thank
you
you so much. Yes. So, and for the record, I just wanted to, Mr. Evans, I also understand that it would be helpful is other Cali identify, the rest of your team can identify yourself. I'm not sure that he finished he was speaking or he was discussing something about his background or something like that. I know that he's the founding director, but I don't know if there was other information that he also wanted to convey us with.
Yeah, Evan, go take it. You got the.
Yes, I guess you
visuals
read
now.
that part. Yes.
Yeah, listen, my train already left the station, so you can't stop me now. I'm just going to say a little bit, and that is from the moment we opened, we always intended to be a school built in a specific place at a time for the people who were interested in joining our community. And we have lived up to that. We take so seriously the responsibility of the children in our care and of their families. And we have, particularly with COVID, expanded our sense of what it means to be a successful school organization. Cynthia is leading a lot of that work and can say a little bit more about our family support program. We have heard over and over again from our families that another choice in the community for high school will be helpful. Many people, particularly these days, do not want to see their children have to travel far to go to high school. We believe that every child should have the same opportunities and supports, and we're very proud of the brand new state-of-the-art, really expansive facility that we are building. And with that, I think Cynthia Gira, you can tell more about our program.
Sure. So thank you, Evan, for that. Thank you, the committee and Faye and
you're welcome.
For welcoming us. I did see Wayne here, so you might have seen these slides a little bit from, we did present earlier this month at Land Use, but we wanted to take this opportunity to also share about our school and our curriculum, and so we will be spending some time on that as well. So as Evan mentioned, we do currently have our Dos Amigos Elementary School. We did present to the Youth and Education Committee before we opened that school as well. And we remain committed to really working in partnership with our community. So just to share a little bit of some of the community impact work we've done, and I see Julio and Domingo are also here, but we've really do have a motto, which is relationships first, right? We really work with each of our students, getting to know them, getting to know their families, identifying support and areas for us to really build community within our school, and that extends to the outside community as well. So just a little bit highlights, we provide, especially for our middle school and for the high school, one-on-one technology. That means they get a personal Chromebook. We do have a very low student to teacher ratio. We've worked in collaboration with New York Presbyterian at the onset of the COVID vaccine to register over 500 of our family members and our community members to receive the vaccine at New York Presbyterian Armory. We also do provide our community pantry on Saturdays. And so that is something that we are very committed to understanding the food insecurity that so many of our families are facing. And then we really are reflective of the community that we serve. And so, I know that this committee is aware of what a charter school is, but we just wanted to highlight that we do have open enrollment for all, right? We have a randomly selected lottery process that is weighted for those taking priority for those who are in District 6. Our demographics are very closely linked to the demographics of what you will see in Community School District 6. And that, that is reflected here on what you, for our large Hispanic demographic. Black free and reduced lunch prices also are here, and as well as supporting our English language learners. And so just to kind of, again, ground us, we are looking at the space within the new radio tower building. Our entrance would be 500 West 181st Street at the corner of 181st. It is highlighted there. I did take the recommendations from the land use to kind of highlight exactly where our entrance was. So hopefully this is helpful.
Very.
And we are looking to open in the fall of 2023. So one more thing, just to say, where our students are coming from, because that was something that we have heard, right? So this reflects the zip codes of our current student population. Again, we are seeing that about 70% of our current 8th grade class will be joining us for the high school. So again, just to kind of show you that our high school is again reflective of our community. Again, just to show, we will be opening only with our 9th grade class. And so that is, at a capacity of 98 per year. And then the following school years, you will see we will have 9th and 10th until ultimately by that school year 26-27, we will be at full enrollment from 9th to 12th grade. And class size is expected to be at 20 to 25. And with that, I pass it on to my incredible colleague, Yira Salcedo.
Well, thank you, Cynthia and Evan, and good evening to all board members and to our counterparts, scholars who presented before us. I am so proud of you as an educator. I was really smiling behind the cameras, hearing you present today, and I look forward to future opportunities to have our School in the Square High School students present in front of this board in the near future. Well, as Cynthia mentioned, I'm Yira Salcedo. I'm going to be the high school principal of School in the Square High School, opening in the fall. I'm very excited to come back home. I am a product of the New York City public school system. I also am a proud Latina Dominican immigrant. And for many of my years growing up as a scholar in the New York City system, I did live in the area of the School in the Square, and currently my parents are still there. So to me, this is coming full circle to be able to serve as an educator, as a school leader, our student body and population of the population that is dear to my heart in the area of Washington Heights and Inwood. So our approach to education is a holistic approach. We want to ensure that we fulfill and deliver on our mission and vision to engage, educate, empower, and elevate student voice and choice, as well as the choice, providing families with a different option, yet another option to pursue for high school. We believe in bilingualism. Students in for the population that we serve currently, they start in Dos Amigos in a dual language program, and we travel all the way to the upper grades to high school, fulfilling that vision to ensure that our students are graduating high school, understanding who they are, their identities, their linguistic diversity. We uplift those talents and gifts that they already come culturally and otherwise. And we want to make sure that when they're entering our space, that those are the values, the core values and beliefs that we promote at the student level, but also across the community. We want our students to have a robust academic program throughout the day that aligns with the expectations for New York State, but also that nurtures their passions through curricular extensions and partnerships. So the typical day of a high school student in School of the Square, it's going to comprise a humanities curriculum that is going to emphasize their oral history. So students are going to engage in participatory action research in the 9th and 10th grade, where they're going to build on the foundation for skills development, but also they are going to build interviewing skills and also engage in conversations about social issues that they want to explore further. Those in the context of the participatory action research, students are going to engage in oral interviews of one another and also with community members that extend the family structure. And the culminating projects will be presented twice a year to classes, also the school community, as well as the larger community. We want our students' identities to be honored. We want our students to be able to not just grow academically, but also develop as social agents of change. And so in the lower house, which would be the 9th and 10th grade, students are going to again engage in the core curricular experiences with the 4 content areas, the core areas: math, science, history, and ELA. We're going to focus on obviously continuing to focus on the dual language approach through a biliteracy track for students to be able to graduate with a biliteracy seal. We also want our students to be exposed to enrichment activities. So we will be partnering with a couple of entities. For example, we can see the CARA curriculum, which is going to be led by a robust team of a college counselor. We are also going to provide students with social emotional learning and support so that they can continue to grow and develop their social emotional intelligence. We also want to ensure that we have partnerships at the high school level for students to engage with the advanced placement college access curriculum, the College Board curriculum. We will offer a plethora of advanced placement courses in grades 10 through 12, including advanced placement Spanish language and advanced placement Spanish literature classes, as well as the English versions of those 2 courses, AP Environmental Science, AP Government and Politics, as well as AP United States and History. Those are some of the courses that have been planned for the 4-year sequence. We also want our students to have access to college classes in the upper grades in the upper house, and those partnerships are listed here. We will have we do have currently a partnership with Bronx Community College, Gutman Community College, and those are expository classes for students in the upper grades to be able to accumulate some college credits while in high school. And finally, we also want our students to engage in service learning opportunities and different career pathways so that they're equipped with the skills and employability skills to be successful in a 21st century society. So we are thinking of an internship program that really aligns with what the community at large values. We also want to expose students to different CBOs, community-based organizations in the community, provide service to the community through opportunities that they can explore with other partners, as well as I mentioned before, the participatory action research and civic engagement, where students take ownership of social issues that are of importance to them and lift up those issues to ensure that there's a change. So we want basically, and to quote famous phrase, we want our students to be the change that they want to see in their society. I think, Cynthia, we are good for now in terms of this slide. Yes. In addition to the academic program that I mentioned briefly, we understand and we will continue to offer students opportunity to engage in physical activity so that they develop or continue to foster those habits, healthy habits for life. We want to ensure that students have a movement space. So in the new building, the new location, we will have access to 2 movement spaces where we can engage in physical activities, including yoga, mindfulness practices, dance electives, and the like. We also want to ensure that students who are athletically inclined, that we promote the idea of being scholar athletes. So we want to continue to explore different team structures and sports such as baseball, soccer, volleyball, flag football, and basketball. And of course, the idea is that we will continue to engage students in conversations about different sports and activities that are of high interest to them so that we can continue to promote this idea of student voice and empowerment and tailor our programming, whether it is academic or athletics or enrichment activities, based on the needs of students. Great. So some of the curricular activities that we currently have engaged with partners include the Bachata Academy for music classes, as well as the People's Theater Project for performing arts. So we would like to explore music, dance, and instrumental approaches to learning so that students can explore their passions outside of the core curriculum. And so these are two major partnerships that we have in place, and including the new state-of-the-art classroom, art classroom space that it's really in its formation. We want to ensure that students that are in the music classes throughout the day also have an opportunity to engage in a more focused setting in the after-school program by enjoying or learning to play the bass guitar, the guiro, the bongos, and all of the instruments that really are played in a bachata ensemble. And of course, also for students to be able to learn to dance the bachata, bachata music, bachata genre, but pretty much we want to make sure that they're exposed to these types of extracurricular activities beyond the scope of the day. We want our students to feel safe after school and have a space where they can explore themselves and build community.
And we do hope to have performances available to the community from that space as well. So to talk a little bit more about the space, again, these are renderings as we are kind of right now still working on the actual space. So Evan, do you want to share a little bit about
I want to be mindful of everyone's time and the late hour. So we are going to go through some renderings, which will give you a good visual of what we anticipate the final space will look like. What I want to leave you with is it is really designed for how we live our lives in the 21st century. So this will be the lobby. Every space in the building has little side benches and places for conversation. We will then have floors 2 through 6, which will total 60,000 square feet. On the left here, at the end of each of our floors is a big open community space, if you will, a square, again, where people can work in groups, collaborate, have conversation, or a quiet moment. On the right, you see a very quick image of what some of our interior office space will look like. This happens to be the college and career office. So just to give you a fun visual of what a floor looks like, you can see it's typically laid out with 4 classrooms and then some kind of other special space. On the second floor, it happens to be the art room. But then at the bottom in the white space, you can see our square. On the right, you see an image of what a modern classroom will look like, where the walls double as a place you can write, 2 places to do visuals, and just big spaces for collaboration. Of course, we have spaces outside of classrooms. This will be the top floor. Yera already shared with you about our movement space. There will be a giant library media space. And what you see on the right is a visual of the cafeteria, not the kind probably that most of you went to when you were in school back in the day, certainly not for me when I was in school in Brooklyn in the 70s, but a very modern structure that really supports, again, how we live and eat and interact in real life.
So we kind of left it again, kind of, I can go back to slides, but we wanted to really allow space for questions.
Yeah, no, definitely. And thinking that perhaps some of my colleagues already seen, I don't know if they had the opportunity to witness other presentation that you made at the other committee, like the land use. So, but anyway, I want to thank you, Mr. Mayor and Cynthia and your principal as well. So I want to thank you very much for, Principal Cavan for this presentation. Yes, I would like to start as we do all the time. So we want to give the opportunity to our committee members first and board members as well. So for any question that they may have. So I see that Maria have a question. Yes, Maria.
Hi, thank you. Hi, Cynthia, how you doing? Nice to see you.
And then Wayne. Yes, Maria.
This is a very, very interesting presentation. I'm not really too crazy about charter schools, but I think this is an example of something that could be work for our students. One of the things on the curriculum that I didn't see is about home economics, finances. How are you going to be dealing with preparing our youth to be able to deal with their future? How they're going to be dealing with, getting jobs, getting prepared to check a bank statement, make sure that the income is right and the income is not right, and things like that. That's extremely important. So the young people have an idea how they're going to be living in the future when they're going to manage their life. And also, since I am connected to the community council, the area where you're going to have 500 students, transportation, security outside, making sure that everybody is protected, their safety, and just to manage the young people who like to probably accumulate outside in the street because after school, and as they say, hanging out, if they're going to play bachata, I'm sure that they're not just going to dance alone. So anyway, those are the concerns that I have. Safety, security, and also home economic are extremely important for us to manage our financial, So.
All right.
So do you want to take on home economics, and me and Evan can definitely talk a little bit more about transportation and security, as I know that was also something that came up with land use.
Sure. So the high school curriculum for the history high school curriculum includes an economics section. So that is like the history 8 curriculum. Students normally in any traditional high school, students would engage in that particular course, which is titled economics. And it does include lessons and units on personal financing and planning, opening a bank account, like the life skills, right? The practical, pragmatic life skills that a young person would need to know to be successful and hopefully achieve financial independence. And so that is part of the history curriculum in the 12th grade. However, in addition to that, we are planning to have electives, as it is part of the graduation requirements that students take a number of electives courses. And some of those courses will include personal finance, as well as opportunities for students to explore work-based learning opportunities and internships placements in the upper grades in the 11th and 12th grade with financial institutions. And perhaps Evan can speak more to that since he has a solid background in that area. And then lastly, the CARA curriculum that I briefly mentioned, in addition to college level action research, it does also cover units on financial literacy, because we do want to engage families and students in the process of financial planning for college and career purposes.
I would just simply add, New York City is one of the greatest cities in the world. How can we think creatively about incorporating this wonderful city into the actual educations well past just the four walls. And we are thinking deeply about what does it really mean to successfully launch a young person. I have 3 children of my own who are in their 20s and 30s, and our expectation is that for as long as our young people want to continue to look to us while they're in college, when they need to do resume writing, when they're thinking about their next steps, well past high school, that we will be with them side by side.
And maybe just to also add, you know, I know the question around transportation and security, and so that is something that is absolutely, you know, paramount to us as well. Just let you know, our students will be high school, and as you saw, most of our students will be coming from our current middle school, which is just 2 blocks away, really, 2.5 when you cross over on Wadsworth, right? And so, you know, what we see now is that most of our students are going to be taking public transportation or walking, right, to school. There's not going to be the need that you would see in elementary schools for lots of buses. You know, in the case that there is a student who has special circumstances, whether that their IEP mandates it or other reasons why they would need a bus, you know, that would happen along Amsterdam. Again, we don't see that being a major issue for the opening or during dismissal or as they get in. And then for security, you know, I think that's something that we are absolutely continuing to discuss. We're working with the overall radio tower building. We're working with the 34th. We are looking at ways to ensure that within our own personnel that we have that security. We're also working on what it means also for traffic safety of our students. So I think that we are, you know, we're happy to come back and share what those detailed plans will look like.
And just to say just one more thing as we continue to tag team here, what we know from the census of our own population at the middle school is that 82% of our students live within 10 blocks, one direction or another, from our current middle school location, again, on the corner of 179th and Wadsworth. So we anticipate that a lot of our high school students will frankly be walking to the high school. And you've heard so much about curriculum and other plans and beautiful plans that we have, but make no mistake about it. We understand that our primary and first goal has to start with safety, and that is in the forefront of our minds.
Thank you. All right. Yes, Wayne has a question. Yes, Wayne.
I don't have a question, just want to provide some background information for the Youth and Education Committee. The School in the Square came before the Land Use Committee earlier this month, and the resolution that will be presented to the full board at the general meeting this month pertains to a modification to the Board of Standards and Appeals approval that CB12 supported back in 2017 to have a special permit issued to allow the school to occupy space in the building. Why is that needed? Because the underlying zoning for this site, and it's split between C8 and R72, but I think 83% of the site is in a C8, which we discussed years ago, is a type of zoning that really is focused on automotive and other uses, but it does not allow, you know, residential or schools or community facility. So the BSA has the ability to issue a special permit to allow the school to occupy the space. So when we approved the first BSA, request, it was to allow this mixture of office space and hotel and, retail on the site. And that's the building that is built. And now the School in the Square is going to occupy some of the office space as a school. So that's what's coming before, the full board. We discussed at length issues relating to traffic and transportation, which is why we referred the applicants to the Traffic and Transportation Committee. And Debbie has already, emailed me back about that. We also said it made sense for them to speak to Youth and Education since it's a school, although they reminded us that they'd previously spoken to you. And there was some discussion of other, services, programs and services in the area. There is a senior citizen facility that Richard Allman is on the board on. So we said they should speak to, Housing and Human Services as well, just to do the kind of outreach that we're talking about here, but also in the prior, presentation. So just to give you, some background on what we will actually be talking about at the general meeting, it's just the special permit to allow the school to occupy office space because the underlying zoning, does not permit that. And just to piggyback a little bit on Maria's comment, the whole issue of financial literacy is critical. And when I worked in community economic development 10, 12 years ago, a number of my banking partners, the banks would adopt a school and they would provide, lessons sometimes, during the school week and sometimes on the weekends on, financial and banking basics. And, we're in a major city. There's no reason why that kind of partnership can't be established. And don't we have a board member who is a, business banker with Chase? So that's someone to reach out to.
Yes.
Yes.
We're putting you on in the school curriculum right now. And, but also
I have a question for Wayne.
But I would just one point. Sorry, Faye.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure that Wayne finished.
No, that was just the background and the fact that, financial literacy is important and we probably should begin before the 12th grade.
All right. Yes, Cynthia.
I was just going to say, that's something that even our families, parents have been asking for as well in our middle school and even in the elementary school. So any opportunities that we can partner, whether with the board or individual members on bringing financial literacy workshops to parents and students, we definitely want to kind of connect. So, feel free to connect with me after.
Yes, it's highly important. I think Domingo, yes, wanted to add something. Yes,
Wayne, I have a question for you on background to the clocks, the hotel. There was a lot of promises when they were building the hotel. Is community space going to be impacted by locating a school in there, or?
No, the school is taking office space. But I'm glad you raised that because after we finished talking about the application, we then had a further conversation with the property owner, Young Woo Associates, about there were I think half a dozen commitments that were made and that were cited in the 2017 CB12 resolution. And the interesting thing is, as you know, the community board resolutions on anything are advisory. And for the Board of Standards and Appeals to include any agreements that we make with an applicant in its resolution, the applicant has to agree for BSA to do that. And Young Woo agreed to have the community board's resolutions cited in the Board of Standards and Appeals resolution, and that was done. And when we went through the half a dozen, commitments that were made, then they are living up to, each and every one of them. And we were talking about financial literacy, but one of the things that we talked about were internships and things of that nature. So not only is community space or commitments for art in public spaces and access to the courtyard not being impacted, but this is an instance where promises that were made were promises that were kept.
Okay, all right, because it'll be a great idea for the school to potentially, one of the agreements we have with the hotel was employment. I believe they set a certain threshold of employment and it could be a pipeline for your parents.
Yeah, well, I mean, we think of the employment, I guess more so for adult community members, but there are also commitments vis-a-vis internships. And, you know, internships in hospitality. Hospitality in New York City is a multi-billion-dollar a year industry.
All right. All right, anybody else? All right, so I just wanted, before I start my questions, let me see is anyone from the public also may have any question. Let me check attendees. No, I think it's not. All right.
Yes.
Yes.
I have a question.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, my question is, what is the administration of this the charter school doing in order to empower our students in terms of U.S. government and the local government titles, position? Because I was a guest speaker at City College last year with the Latinos. That was during the Dominican Heritage Month. And one of the questions that I asked was how many of the students know who is the city council, who is the senator of the district where they live. And you know what? There were in there about 275 students, all Latinos, and most of them Dominicans, and only not even 5% could answer the question. Some of them you ask who is your city council and mention the mayor name, you know, and what is the school doing in order to have our students, when they walk away from college or come back from college, they already know, you know, what is the composition of the political body, you know, at the city level, the state level, or the United States?
You know, I would just say what you are talking about, in fact, is a problem across the whole nation, across all age groups. It is disappointing to look at surveys of all Americans and how little they know about their own government. So I really appreciate the question. Of course, we teach government classes, but I think more to your point, not so much to memorize the names, but we have had local politicians visiting our school on numerous occasions to talk about their work, to talk about their own trajectory. We have many different projects that consider what is happening in the neighborhood, and we are at every turn trying to make relevant what we are teaching in the classroom to the real world.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the question, Guillermo. All right. I believe nobody else has a question that I can see. So then I am going to proceed with my questions. It's my turn now, hopefully. So one of my questions is, I understood when you passed the slide about the number of students that you expect to have in the new school is going to be 98. That's what you said? So, and you expect to have about like maybe 4 classrooms. I was counting too fast on the structure that you provided on the chart. So I wonder, this is an approximately, or you already had that number? I'm trying to figure out, how did you arrive at that number?
Thank you for the question. And if we, in our presentation, went too quickly, I apologize for that. So we expect to have approximately 98 students for each grade. We will open up 1 grade each year. And 4 years from now, when the school is fully built out, we anticipate the space, the high school, will have 390 students, about at capacity. We get to that number because that is similar to the numbers in our middle school. We have 6 years experience trying to find the right balance of what is the right number to have the kind of community to be able to offer the kinds of programming that we think will best serve the students.
All right.
Did I answer your question?
That I think you did, but I'm gonna do some thinking, yes. So yeah, it's very moderate, numbers. And as the year goes by, so you expect to increase the number. So which you are projecting that by 2026-27 year, then the number will add to 300, the total to 392 students. Is that right? Is that right?
Exactly.
That's your final expectation.
Yes.
Well, I think that if you go beyond 397, like 700, I see that you would be looking to another location close by.
Yes, we have to put them on the roof.
Teasing you. Yes. All right. So I'm sure that you probably heard about when WIN, the charter school WIN, actually tried to establish their school, in the same block, but for some reason or many, pros and cons that they have, they couldn't actually, at the end, they decide to move out and, not to even pursue the proposal. But one thing that I noticed that I favor you, if I'm not mistaken, is that the Board of Appeal, according to Wayne, you don't have that problem. So you're good on that sense. So
just
several
if I can
things.
clarify one thing for you.
Yes.
If I interrupted, I apologize.
Right.
But the big difference with WIN is they were going to open an elementary school. And because of the age of the children, that guaranteed that many buses of school buses would have to stop each day, that many
Yes.
people would be driving and dropping off. As ours is a high school, we don't have any of those concerns.
That I already thought, and you are absolutely correct. Yes, which actually go to one of my questions, since which is about the need of guards, school safety guards, but it's no need. When I get to that question, I guess that definitely I will ask, but you're absolutely correct. But I'm thinking that besides that differences, maybe there is other things that you may have considered, which that's exactly what I was going to ask you. If there was anything in there that you would like to volunteer, that as a learning, I guess, experience. So, but I will proceed with my next question. So I understand that the school will have an elevator that is not for the students. The student will be using the stairs, I understand. So, but I think and I assume that this elevator will be available probably for a student with disability. Is that maybe an option for them?
Yes, the building will be fully equipped to handle students with disabilities. We are putting in an elevator that will go from the lobby to the second floor, just dedicated to our school and for those members of our community who cannot take the steps. Once they are on the second floor, they will then have access to the elevators in the rest of the space.
And regarding safety, which I think and pedestrian, which is like the main focus in our side, safety in particular. So I under the belief that the 34 definitely will play a huge role when it comes to safety and school safeties as well. So my question to you. Camera reported ahead. What was that? All right. So my question to you is, have you met with them, with the 34 and perhaps the school safety, to discuss the potential role for, that they would play in the establishment of your school?
So
Has been any conversation between a school safety and NYPD regarding, their role in terms of safety around your school?
Sure. So as a charter school, we don't employ school safety agents at our school, but we have worked with, and we continue to remain in communication with the 34th, specifically their youth officers. All of their youth officers know that we are planning on opening the high school on 181st. We've also have had conversations with community affairs agents around it. We are looking at establishing more of a formalized conversation with the 34th around what that safety plan would look like. Also their, what opportunities we would have for a crossing guard, right? We even our middle school is still on the list for a crossing guard. So we want to be clear around what our expectation is and what the reality of what the 34th can deliver. But we absolutely remain in close communication with the 34th about our plans.
Yes, I wanted just to clarify, for the record, I didn't expect, or I was asking that you would be hiring police officer. No, of course not. Because it's not. My question was directly related whether or not there is a conversation that has taken place, because especially school safety, which come from NYPD, I can see, their involvement, in your school activity. So my next question also is that, with the opening of your school, the sidewalk will be...
Faye, could I just comment on the school safety issue for a second?
All right.
As I mentioned, we referred the applicant to Traffic and Transportation as well. And on the matter of high visibility crosswalks and school crossing guards, that's something that, Debbie Nabavian's committee is opining on. I believe you were copied, Faye, on the email exchange. And what Debbie pointed out is there is a shortage of the school crossing guard. And so at this juncture, priority is being given to, elementary schools. So I think, as Cynthia pointed out, even the middle school is on the waiting list. So the high school would be further on the waiting list. But when it comes to the high visibility crosswalks, that's something that, TNT said make a lot of sense. And I'm expecting them to say something about that, but you may want to circle back and have some conversation with Debbie about what TNT has looked at.
Wayne, was that for me?
Thank you, Maria. Go ahead. Cynthia, you want to say something?
Sorry, I just wanted clarification. Wayne, did you need me to follow up with Debbie, or was that for Faye?
That was for Faye.
All right. So Maria, just give me 1 second, because I really need to ask this question, unless that your question is very brief, because I really need to ask this question.
No, I just want to make sure that you understand my point when I talk about safety. On that particular area, there is Esperanza Center who handles people that have handicaps. There is the Art Center, who is the senior center. There is a post office. So when I talk about safety, it's on the area. It's just to make sure that the flow of people walk on the street are safe especially for the students that are coming to to attend that school.
And Maria, the needle exchange is right across the street from there too.
Right. But they have to have the signage, all that thing had to be. I don't believe that they need a crossing guard for high school students, but there is a lot, and also the fire department, the firehouse is right across the street from there. Remember that.
Okay, allow me to interject. Thank you, Maria. Maria, I wanted just to reiterate what you said. I will not generalize that, because if we have students with disability, they definitely will need crossing guard assistant. I really think so. So this is something that we need to be mindful about it. Regular students, I can understand that very well. So, but I just wanted to put that up there. So one of the things that I also wanted to ask is, I really feel strong about, when it comes to, or as you may know, a school with K to 12 grade are best choice because they are more centralized. But I believe that when, a neighbor school come into a particular place or location where you will be near other middle school, I see the possibility for the violent increase, gang activities, and all that kind of thing. I'm not saying that this is going to be your case, but this is something that we cannot necessarily disregard because we know what's going on with public schools. And the gang activity, it's a common factor, among this environment. So I just wondering, have your school thought or discussed this possibility, even thought about it, since you are going to be close to, this middle school IS 143. And if you have thought about if there is any preventing measure that you want to volunteer, or you just wanted to say, yes, we are considering this, or whatever you want to, share with us, whatever information.
I guess what I would start by saying is, we know that our community is very densely populated. So
Yes.
yes, there are lots of schools. Yes, there sometimes can be trouble. Anyone who says otherwise, that's just not so. But even in our middle school today, it is a super crowded area with lots of different schools around it. And we think one of the best ways that we can help prevent a problem is by really having open discussion with our young people. The basis of our school, our core value is really around community. In the 7 years we have been open, we have never expelled a student. We try and work with every child, and we really bring to them in town halls real life conversation about what is happening. That is not a guarantee that there will never be a problem, and kids can be kids at times, but we do all have to figure out how to share this sometimes crowded area.
Well, it's a phenomenon that, we cannot, deny it, and the spot where you presently are may not be so, let's say, hot for that particular activity. But I know that around that area, which is basically one of the, perhaps not directly gang-related activity, but violence, I should say. I mentioned with the previous presentation, this area, especially the 192nd, which is only a block from you, it's a very intense area. So, and knowing that we have middle school in there, the potential will be looking at your student, and I'm wondering if this is a factor that you are considering too, since this is going to be way different from, let's say, Watford and 179, where you also are located, and another area as well. And that's why I wanted to, bring that to you. So my next and probably final question, since we are pressed for time, that would be, have you made or approached to other neighbors, schools like IS 143, the Wheels, which is the closest one to you? And if you also had a spoke or have any conversation with the department, the fire department, to discuss your intention. And one of the reasons in particular that I can see that the idea of approaching to them, it's in terms of partnership and collaboration, because you're going to need each other for whatever reason. And I think in terms of the fire department, I look at the aspect of safety, like for example, the issue of fire drills in case of any emergency. They are across the street from you. And I wondering how many students also at the same time looking at all this issue of safety, and how many students are you projected to be in your cafeteria, for example, out of 98. So I don't know if they're going to be taking turns. This is a multiple questions in one single question, and I know it can be confusing because I'm trying to actually take advantage of the time. Since we are pressed for time. So, but you can answer me. Yes, it would be fair enough if you can answer me if you had met with any other a school or organization like the fire department and IS 143.
Sure. So we are meeting with Wheels, and Futures Ignite as well. So that is definitely, we remain in, regardless of the high school, have always had communication with some of our local schools and charter schools in the neighborhood, but we can absolutely continue to improve on that. We have met with Isidro and the Washington Heights bid on 181st and kind of thinking about if we're coming to that area, how do we work much more in collaboration? And so again, I want to highlight that also kind of was propelled from the land use committee meeting. And so wanted to thank, Wayne and committee members for encouraging us to continue to make those collaborations. FDNY, we will absolutely put that on our list. And I think your other question around, I think, capacity for, our large spaces, Evan, I don't know if you have those numbers off the top, or we can provide those. But each of our designated spaces does have a capacity. And so we absolutely, that's one of the reasons why the enrollment numbers are such, is to really make sure that we are, absolutely adhering to maximum capacity regulations as well.
And all schools have to go through a very rigorous process with the fire department before they are allowed to open.
Well, and another factor is that we need to consider it. I know that when it comes to charter school and public school, the relationship is not necessarily be the best, but in this case, I think it's important. In my opinion, that perhaps some conversation with IS 143 and Will should take place, since they are going to be your neighbors. And of course, the involvement and conversation with the fire department. This is something in terms of safety that something that we hope and expect that eventually it would happen if that had happened yet. So.
And I would say, separate from the high school, as Cynthia has said, we have had the people from Wheels and IS 43 in our school. We are open. Anything we're doing that is of interest to someone else, we are happy to share. We are happy to learn from other people, and we want to be good neighbors.
All right. I guess I will reserve my rest of the question for another opportunity. I want to wish you, the best. I'm very glad and very happy that, your school is growing and, all the activity and extracurriculum that you are projecting to carry on this new establishment. And of course, do not hesitate to contact our board in case that you may need any things, you may have any questions. And equally important, we appreciate if you can keep us posted. So I don't know if you have any question on your side for us, and or any Kali. Other than that, I want to thank you all for your presentation. And
I'd just like to offer my gratitude for everyone who comes out, who really is invested in our community, and for your welcome tonight and your interest in our project.
Thank you. Good luck to you. Thank you, Cynthia, and thank you, Principal Salcedo, and thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And, we are absolutely accessible. I think many of your community members know how to get a hold of us. But if any other questions do come up, please let us know. We're happy to circle back. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Much appreciated. Thank you. Yes. All right. So, okay, I guess that we are moving now to the phase of the agenda to discuss all the new business. Is anyone has any announcement to make? Any announcement? Okay, Jacob, did I see your hands up?
You do, Faye. Thank you.
Yes.
I wanted to share that the community board, I think our board chair, Catherine, would not mind me sharing this at this point, but we'll be putting together a event to meet Community Board 12 for folks in the community who may wish to get to know some of us better and to understand more about how to apply to the board, to how to work with the board. That event is going to be taking place on February 24th at Chela's on 3820 Broadway at 6 p.m. And I think it'll be a really good event for folks to come out and learn more. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to be there. I would love to be there. I'm going to put the RSVP link in the chat if that's all right. There is an Eventbrite RSVP. I was trying to do that earlier and sent it a little prematurely. So just wanted to share that out with the community. Oh, and one other point. In the city, folks who are at least 16 years of age are eligible to serve on community boards. So for our educators out there, if there are young people who may be interested in learning how to work more with the board, who are at least 16 years of age, that is an age where they can be involved, and always great to have, a variety of people representing the community at board meetings.
Thank you, Jacob. I believe that we have I think somebody else had, I don't know if she left already. I don't know if from the attendees, they may have any announcement. Tanisha Grant, Jason Cohen, I don't know if they have any announcement. Chanel, can you promote them, please? To see before we share our announcement. Jason, hi Jason, do you have any announcement? And Tanisha?
Hello, everyone. Tanisha Grant. Been living in Washington Heights all my life. Community-based organization, Parent Support and Parents New York. It's nice to be here. I usually just sit and don't say anything, but I watch everything. Some of you might know me, but I do a lot of work in the community around education, around children. I'm the one who gives our children high-quality laptops. The best out. We're working on up to 700 children. We are having an event for Black History Month. This year is our 3rd annual Malcolm X Celebration of Life by Any Means Necessary event. We've been doing it for 3 years in a row. We will have food distribution. We will be giving away laptops. We will have arts and crafts for the children. We're bringing out our cotton candy machine, and we will have education, political piece on Malcolm X and who he was, very important. We are also doing it at the Honorable Kristen Richardson Jordan's office in District 9. We are hoping that our sitting council member, Carmen De La Rosa, or some of her staff will come out, and we hope to see you there. There will be a lot of food giveaways, a lot of clothes giveaways. Bring the children out, learn something about Black History Month, and we're looking forward to being in community with you. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Tanisha. Yes. Jason, do you have any announcement? Well, I guess that he's not listening to us. All right, Chanel, I would like to just to also share with us our goal that we already discussed it, but I just wanted to show the our planning matrix for 2023. Chanel, can you?
Yeah, Feb, before I do that, you have a hand up by Stephanie.
Stephanie. Okay, let me see. I cannot see her name. Stephanie?
Hi, Faye.
Oh, there you go. Yes. Yes.
Sent you the email about summer camp in Fort Washington. Is now a good time to share that? Okay, great. Hi,
I'll make this super quick. I am my name is Stephanie Shiea. I am the North Park Outreach Coordinator for Riverside Park. So specifically from 120th Street to 181st Street, all the way up to the Lighthouse. This summer, we are doing summer camp at Fort Washington. And I have a lot of flyers if anybody is interested. We have soccer, we have flag football. We're also doing something new this summer with gymnastics and tumbling from grades 4 to 16. 4 to 14, 4 to 16, something like that. So if you're part of a school or an organization, or a parent organization who wants flyers for any of that, I'm going to put my info in the chat, and I'll be here for the remainder of the rest of the night if anybody has any questions. But I wanted to make it super short because I know you have a lot of other things on your agenda. I usually attend the parks meetings on Tuesdays for CB12, so I'm very new to youth and education. So bye.
Thank you, Stephanie. Did you share your flyer with the board? So the board can send it out to the community.
I shared it with you, and I shared it with Liz Ritter from Parks and CB12.
Oh, I thought that you shared with me with the purpose for this meeting, but definitely yes. I think that well, I will forward them to the board so the board can, blast the community if it's possible.
That would be beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for your announcement. All right. So, all right. Thank you, Chanel, too. So, Chanel, perhaps now quickly, we can, at least for the record, show our metrics. So as you can see, this is what we have discussed. So our metrics, this is 2-page document. As you can see on the first column, we have the players and we have the topic. The player is looking vertical and the topic is in horizontal position. So and under each box, you can see the name of who the member is proposing the other topic. For example, we have agreed that we would like to have a discussion on the anti-bullying forum. Also, public and versus charter school conversation. That would be part 2. This is a pending conversation that we have since 2011, so it's coming soon, possibly sometime this month. We also going to have conversation in cannabis and marijuana, which is proposed by Maria. We also have a special permission involving distance to open charter school in District 6, which is proposed by our Colin Domingo. Advocacy technical career, also Jonathan is proposing that. Building partnership and increase youth and education committees outside discussion is proposed by Guillermo. As you can see, there is a great possibility that we may have a charter school discussion. Is proposing actually for March of this month. Let me go on the second page. Can you? Okay. Oh, oops. Okay, second page. Parental involvement this is a conversation that we also would like to have. Students' health. Concentrating in the aspect of obesity, technology and funding cuts. In June, last June, the whole year school, we're facing the problem with funding cuts, and this is a conversation that we ought to continue. And we need to also revise the No Child Left Behind. We need some update on that. Classroom side is another topic, along with poverty and family factor. And of course, the LGBTQ plus youth and Washington High community, which has been proposed by our colleague Jacob. This is a pending conversation that we have to educate the community and really embrace, this population. So we need to have a conversation about all these topics. And the players on all this, propose a conversation. We hopefully will have educators. We will have youth organization. Chanel, can you please scroll down a little bit so I can yes, this is good. Parents and caregivers, education advocate, mental and health social services professional, and of course, our elected officials are the folks, are the players that we would like to invite for all this conversation. Now, 11 topics has been, and probably a little bit, or 12 topic has been already proposed. We have 10 meetings in the full year, and our intention is to pick some of these topics, if not all of them, but it's going to be up to all the Calis, so we can bring at each meeting this conversation, or perhaps we can change this conversation for something else that they later on may decide to change their mind. But for now, this planning matrix is proposing to have this discussion. Recently, I wanted to say that there was an incident in one of the public school in, I think it was in New Jersey, in which unfortunately, I think the name of the school is the Central Regional High School, and where one of the students was found dead in her house or in her home, you know, on February 3rd, 2 days after the video was, you know, shared. And she felt so out of place, so bad, that she included in killing herself, basically, you know, committed suicide. And all as a result of bullying and a bullying attack. There is a video that they released by Fox News. And I think this is something that we need to have this conversation. So for the next meeting in March 14, I would like to encourage our Calis to approve the idea that we can bring some guests to speak about bullying. So this is, and the meeting can be via Zoom, can be in person. If it's in person, we can definitely find a site where to have it, but we also can have a, you know, via Zoom, like this conversation that we are having now. I also envision that we can invite students to be part of this conversation, because they basically are the actor and the most affecting, you know, people in this, you know, with this problem. And we need to have a serious conversation about bullying to avoid incidents like this student by the name Adriana Koch, only 14 years old. She's so young. She's a baby, basically, you know, and lost her life as a result of bullying. So I really urge you, my colleague, to really consider it, to having this conversation on the next, you know, Youth and Education Meeting. I also would like to propose that sometime early, probably March, perhaps on the first week, maybe Saturday, to have the charter versus, you know, public school discussion for an update. We need to have this conversation if it's possible, since we already had a conversation back in 2011, and we promised the community that we would provide an update as to how the charter school and the and public school are doing, you know. Since when we had that event back in 2011, it was when the charter school, when the emergence of all charter school started, you know, in District 6. Since then, they have grown so much. There is so many charter schools, and we would like to hear and educate ourselves to see exactly about, we want to hear about the programs, what is it that they are doing, what is the public school are doing. So we need an update, and for that, I really would like to propose that we have a panel discussion, exactly a replica of what we had back in 2011. So I just wanted to see if my colleague have any objection in having this, the bullying, again, that I'm proposing, having the bullying discussion at the next meeting, March 14, Youth and Education Committee, and having in-person panel discussion, which is a replica, again, what we had back in 2011. So, Kali, how did you feel about this proposal and the entitled, you know, metrics? Chanel, thank you. You can stop the sharing the, yes, thank you.
What was the event in 2011?
In 2011, we have what we call an informal discussion between charter school and traditional school. I can send you probably later on. I will send you the information, the flyers, and you know, the unfolding of the event. So what happened at that time was that since there was some more back and forth in terms of many folks opposing charter school, opposing co-locations and all that kind of things. We even passed a resolution in which we were opposing charter school co-locating in public space per se, you know, public school. So we wanted to basically educate parents, educate the community about what charter school, what is the difference between charter school and traditional school system. And we had a panel discussion with official education from the state and also for local, from the local school system. Department of Education. We invited the chancellor, although the chancellor by then Walco couldn't, you know, Dennis Walco couldn't, he couldn't attend. But we have representatives from, you know, from different, you know, agency. And we would like to have the same panel discussion again. And since we promised the community that we are going to do that. And I think it's time, and the face of the growth was so many charter school, and the face is so many, let's say, for example, funding cuts that we just faced last June in public school. I think all these kind of problems that we are facing, especially with the public school and the uncertainty in regard to the progress of, you know, of what charter school are doing. This is something that I think it would be a good conversation to have in the community, so the community can get to know where we are, where we find ourselves in terms of these two systems, you know, public school. I don't know if you have any question, any suggestion, any objection in having this discussion. And of course, I wanted also to encourage you regarding all your proposed, you know, agenda, how you would like to see the unfolding of your event. For example, the discussion that Jacob volunteered, as well yours, how you would like to see the unfolding of this, what kind of conversation you would like to bring, what kind of event. Did you want us to have to invite someone to speak about the subject? Did you want it to have an outside conversation besides or outside the committee meetings? We can have all this conversation, or we can incorporate in our youth and education agenda your proposed, you know, topic, or we can have it also an event or discussion outside. It's really up to you how you would like to educate the community and the topic that you are proposing. And of course, you all always can count on my support in terms of how we're going to organize these conversations. Question? Yes, Domingo.
Yeah, I'm a little confused, right? Because when we engaged in the conversation of topics, it was more like on a broader, like, hey, look what we want to see. Like, I didn't mean to be responsible for a topic around, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I'm just a little confused right now.
Well, okay. We ask that each member volunteer a particular goal for the committee. The goal is a conversation or whatever you think you would like the community to discuss, to do, or whatever, you know, goals. What goal do you have for the community? What you would like to see the community to engage into as a goal? an agenda that, you know, you think that we should embrace. So I am under the impression that the topic that you volunteer is what you are suggested as a goal for the committee to embrace, to discuss, for whatever. What I'm saying now is, if this is indeed your proposed goal for the committee, and you would like, or not what you would like, my question would be, how you would like the committee to embrace that particular information that you volunteer or that you are proposing, unless that you did not intend to propose that, and that was something that you just, that you decided just to make a comment. But I believe that was I took it as that was your goal for the committee. Since we all were discussing different topic, I volunteer around 10 or 11 topics for you to consider it. Not necessarily have to be the adoption of the entire 11 topics, but for you to consider, because based on previous experience, I learned that some of our colleagues may not necessarily have in mind a particular goal, but if you facilitate or help them to, like we providing with some topics, like the way I did it, may help them to pick and choose whatever they think it would be a helpful conversation to have. I don't know if you understand my point. Jacob, did you understand?
Yes, Pei.
How about you, Maria? You understand? Maria? Did you understand what I explained?
Let me, sorry. This is Maria. Let me mute. Domingo asked a valid question because no. Domingo asked a valid question about an issue that took 11 and we are in 2023 now, which happens to be 12 years old. All right. Correct me some, around Domingo. Anyway, I think what's happening, what I see for the explanation that Faye is giving us, she's following the corporate life system, which means that a corporation set up a meeting of managers and discuss the goals of the corporation, how the profits, how many employees are we going to keep, how many people are going to retire, to come to a final goal for a period of time until the next board meeting, general board meeting. And this is what I believe that Faith is doing. She's issue she has mine, which is bullying, and also the let me see, the other one was the charter schools. The bullying, I believe that we have agreed or maybe come to some decision that was going to be the issue to be discussed at the next March meeting. Then there is the charter schools is another thing that she had proposed to have an in-person meeting outside of our community, the general committee, the youth committee.
It's an event.
Which
Maria, I don't know if this is y'all communicating between yourselves, but I don't know none of this. Like
no, but that's what
we agreed to something in March that I myself don't know what we're talking about.
Domingo, I just said, that's why I said that I wanted to explain to you that I have, when first sent this email asking for opinions and things like that, a recommendation, very few people, if any, responded, but I did. So I have a conversation with her about my feelings that I will support a discussion in our next meeting about bullying, because it's something that has been discussed all over the place. Now, the second thing is about the charter schools. Now, no one else have given her any opinions about the future goals and how to get to those goals, that the 11 points that she explained. So I kept quiet until now, because I think that we have to either give her our support for having in March, in our March meeting, the bullying issue, and then we can move from there to the next point, charter schools and another meeting and things like that. So that's it. I don't want to have, I don't want you to think that we're having this thing going on between Faye and I. It's just that I answer her, her question. So that's it. Now, are we going forward with supporting her for the bullying issue for the next March meeting, or yes or no?
But it's not that. I wasn't part of any emails. That's why I'm usually pretty responsive.
Oh, I'm sorry. Also, I thought you had sent it to everybody. Faye,
well,
did you just mail to the entire committee?
Excuse me?
Did you send the email to the entire committee asking
Yeah,
for
the committee's been
recommendations?
informed, the committee been informed of everything, because I wanted to say that, remember, among all the topics that we have on the matrix that you propose, I propose. So the order is not any specific order that necessarily it has to take place. All this topic is for you to choose among those that you have already proposed it. Let's say that what Jacob said, what Jacob is proposing, let's say that Jacob said, hypothetically speaking, or what Domingo said, that we wanted to bring that conversation and be on the agenda in the next committee meeting in March. We can start with that. That's no problem. The same way that I'm saying maybe we should have bullying as in the agenda, for next meeting. We can have in April whatever Maria is proposing, and May we can have what Domingo said or what Jonathan said. This is just bringing information about that particular topics at each meeting. You have the freedom, like anybody else, collectively saying who you would like to invite to discuss the topic that you would like to be discussed. So basically it's about bringing those conversations to the community. Whether this is going to be an agenda for our meeting for the whole year, or whether you wanted to actually put together an event on a different day, not necessarily committee agenda, but let's say that on a Wednesday or on a Saturday, that particular subject that you are proposing, you want to have a panel discussion somewhere else in the community and even in the local school. It's up to you. But
may I interject, because I think you are complicating more the issue. Wait. When you talk about having events outside, our focus, Faye, and I have said that to you, our focus is to deal with our Youth Services Committee meeting each month. Anything outside of that, that's something different, totally different.
No, Maria, allow me to interject.
No, I'm sorry.
No, because it's gonna get confused, Maria. Allow me, please. No, Maria, please allow me.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm turning off. Okay?
No, allow me, Maria, so I can restate it. Maria, what I'm saying, listen to me, please. What I'm saying is what you are proposing and the rest of the Cali, it's up to you if we can bring that as a conversation for our meeting. It's up to you. That's what I am saying.
Okay, I get it. It's like Maria said, it was just too complicated. That's all it was. Because it's like, we got a topic. Let's engage in the topic. Let's identify the topic and then just go with it. And it's virtual because we're doing virtual meetings, right?
Right.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes, we can bring those topics for conversation in our meeting. We have in the year we have 10 meetings. From January to June we have 6 meetings, and then from September to December then will be 4 meetings. We can bring the topic that you decide on each of these meetings for discussion. It's really up to the committee. You understand?
I have a question. When you send the email with the 11th topic, I was one of the first that responded. And who else responded and what they choose? It is easy just to review the email that everybody respond and see what the topics are. If there is a topic that has 3 people that signed for or support it, that will be the first one. If there is one that have only one, that will be the third one or whatever. But I think it's easy, yeah,
Everything-
just look at,
Everything has been explained and on each email. I don't really know.
Faye, I'm not receiving your emails.
No?
Yeah,
Well-
quick point of order, Faye. I'm looking
Yes.
at the email chain that went out, and it looks like Domingo's email may be incorrect. It's not what is on the contact list. So Domingo, you may not have actually received.
Now
this
I
information.
remember, yes, you're right. Domingo is right, yes. But I think it was on the last email that I sent, I noticed that. And now I remember that I verified that. You received that email? And I
I
actually
haven't
suggest
received
that
any
you read
emails.
the
That's
chain.
why I'm like, Faye, I'm confused about everything you're saying because I have not, and I'm pretty responsive with my emails. I have not received anything from you.
Oh, well, my apology then. But I know that I noticed that. And in the same email, there is the history of all discussion that we had. And I did include your email because that's when I noticed it. I think it was on Friday or Thursday that I find out. And I did apologize to you for that because I didn't realize that you were not, in the conversation. But sending, when I don't know if we, and I know if you had the time to look at the history since I correct the error of not having you in the original email. Did
I
you
don't
see
have
that
it, Faye,
email?
so no, my email is dejrcb12m@gmail.com. I've received 0 emails from you.
There was
I
a
get
Yahoo.
everything
There
from
was a
everybody
Yahoo
else.
email. I sent it to a Yahoo email.
That's not my email.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, we
Yeah. Well,
we will
what I'll
discuss
do is
that.
I'll
We will
text you-
discuss that.
I'll text
when
you
the meeting's
my
over.
email.
All right. Well. All right. I apologize for that.
No,
Anyway.
it happens. That's why I'm like, I didn't want to seem like an asshole, but I was just like, what are we
No.
talking about?
No. Okay. This is what I wanted from my part. If you
No,
have-
but I get it already. I get it already.
So this is what I am proposing. I definitely, for the next agenda item, if you guys have no objection, I would like to bring the discussion of bullying, especially now that, I read that case with this young, lady, 14 years old, that committed suicide. I think this is a very important conversation. If you would like to postpone this conversation for another day or another meeting, it's fine with me, pending that you will provide us with a different topic. What do you think about that?
I second that proposal.
I think Jacob has his hand up.
What do you think, Jacob?
I didn't want to talk over anyone. I apologize. I support that, and I appreciate the effort to get a sort of an agenda of topics of discussion for these meetings. I think that sounds like a fine discussion for our next topic of discussion. I think that I know that I proposed the topic of representing and discussing the needs of LGBT youth in Washington Heights. That's a conversation that personally, perhaps Faye, I would love to have as part of our regular meeting in June, which would be Pride Month. I think that's topically, relevant. But that would be, perhaps as part of the normal meeting. I know you also mentioned the idea of having this charter school discussion outside of our regular meetings. And I believe we had talked about that as a possibility, as a way to find a meeting time that works more for parents in our community. That was the intention behind not meeting, at 7 p.m. I think that it's probably best to have as many topics of discussion for our regular meetings as possible, but that alternative meeting time makes a ton of sense to me, and I would personally be happy to set aside some time on a weekend to represent the Youth and Education Committee in any sort of like outside discussion about charter schools specifically. So I think those sound like good next steps for the next few meetings, in my opinion.
Thank you. So let me question. So your topic for the LGTB, when you would like to see to bring that conversation?
Yes, I would like for that to be a topic of discussion for our June. We have a June Youth and Education Committee meeting, right? That's right before the summer recess.
That's the last one.
And I would love to, and I'm currently reaching out to organizations in our neighborhoods in Washington Heights that serve the needs of LGBT youth in various ways. So still reaching out and making some contacts there. But what I would like to do is invite those folks to come to our regular meeting and speak about the services that they offer.
Thank you. So, Domingo, what about you? What conversation you would like to see that we discuss in the upcoming meetings?
I'm big on doing multiple things at the same time. Like, I'd be down for even some sort of like youth resource fair where you put everything together in one and you knock everything out at the same time. And you just use these meetings for planning. And you have every conversation that you could think of all at the same time, and giving more exposure to all the families around resources, etc. But for me, honestly, I'm big on sports and spaces in the community, like sports and available spaces in the community within the buildings of the DOE.
So that would be an agenda item as a goal. It's a very valid and much needed conversation to take place. Do you have any month in mind that you perhaps would like to see that, or maybe you want to think about it? So what do you think?
I personally saw a study by the comptroller, so I would like to engage him first to see if there's any updates on the statistics and spaces for youth to engage in physical activity before we plan something, because I know I go off of something that was some data that was put out in 2012 or 2014. So I want to make sure, like, if there's any update on it, being able to do it. So I would say I should be able to have an update by via email, or I'll just like during the bullying one, I'll be able to let you know.
Great. How about you, Maria? The topic that you volunteer, did you have any month that you would like for us to bring that on the agenda?
No, not yet, not yet.
So you will get back to us. All right. So it seems to me that then perhaps, Jason, I will come back to you when we finish. So it seems to me that maybe the discussion or the conversation about bullying and our March agenda is a possibility. Do you have any objection on that? No, I guess. So we're gonna let's
me, Faye?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I have a question. Because I hear us talking about bullying, I hear us talking about a lot of different issues that are again, you know, like these are symptoms of larger issues. And so I'm questioning, like, what, as a community board, like, what do we have space to leverage in terms of like what we can actually do from what we talk about? Because I like the idea that we're coming up with some topics, but are we just going to discuss these topics? Are there things that we're actually looking to change? What agency do we have to change some of these things? Because when I hear bullying, I go back to, engagement, right? Like, how do we have our youth, with positive things to do? I hear Domingo talking about sports. That's also engagement. LGBTQ, like, that's community engagement, right? Like, so how are we like leveraging what we can actually do, right? Like, we could talk about symptoms of issues, but what can we actually do to create opportunities for youth and our community members to be engaged and to have more understanding of each other, because then that leads to us like not having to maybe talk about some of these outcome issues from a lack of engagement. So yeah, I'm just trying to, I'm curious to know, like, what can we actually get done, and how can we structure maybe our topics to leverage that and backwards plan from some of the outcomes we want to see from our
Camilo,
here.
All right.
estoy aquí desde las 8:30.
Guillermo, can
Esa
you,
vino y se puso ahí ahora mismo. Sorry.
Guillermo, can you mute yourself, please? Thank you. So thank you, Jason, for your input. So what we are doing right now is we already, I don't know if you get to see the planning matrix that, we put together. And this is in regard, all this topic that has been included in the matrix. It's about it's like kind of review or a projection of the committee goals, topic that we, each of us, or every members of the committee volunteer for possible discussion throughout the year. And that would be like sort of like our goal, to bring those discussions, because we consider those topics to be important. Bullying, it's one of them, and in fact is the #1 topic that we have, on the
but I think his concern is more about, are we just going to expose people to information, or are you going to really like identify ways of of outrooting a lot of the issues we're identifying? So I think he's more like talking about like beyond conversations, like how does this committee see itself actually creating alternatives or presenting alternatives to combat those issues?
Well, I just wanted
to just having conversations.
Yes, I got it. But I just wanted first to explain him what this discussion is all about, so he know exactly where this discussion, is coming from. He has a very valid point, but I think it's important that he understand that we are discussing this topic because this is our goals, and we're trying to reach an agreement on this. Now, in regard to the bullying, which is one of the topics that he actually, mentioned, personally, I think that the committee should consider to have the involvement, as I said, of young people. We have many ways to do this. We can invite expert on the field of bullying from the Department of Education and outside from the Department of Education. We can invite young people, which I would love to, so they can be, they can be part of this. They can provide their testimony. They can provide their opinions. And this can be, of course, a virtual conversation, but at the same time, we can also have a in-person panel discussion to one of the local schools. It just all depends on the committee, and we can plan in advance. So what is that we would like to propose in terms of solution to alleviate these problems? If we can also come up with the idea of inviting perhaps any organization or a school that have successfully conquered this problem or alleviated the problem, we want to hear about that, because this is about not necessarily talking about the problem, but coming up with some possible solution that based it on experience that other institution or schools already had experience. So, but the idea is there, the proposal is there, so we can all definitely come up together. We can have an in-person meeting in the board and further discuss how we would like to see this to get unfold. So Jason, you're welcome, of course, to help us be part of this as well. And
yeah, thank
so,
you.
And we definitely, that's how we learn, and that we can do better things if we can collectively pour our or share our thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll put my email in. I'm actually an educational consultant. I was an administrator for a number of years at a charter school, started off as a dean in the public school system. And so, yeah, I know this work well. And bullying, again, it's an outcome of like a lack of community, a lack of belonging. Young people don't even use the term bullying, right? They talk about, like, oh, just disrespect, violation, harm in that way, right? Like it's more about like being accepted more than anything else. Yeah. And so if we can continue to create pathways for folks to be able to share their stories and be together, then I think, you know, we will have less bullying.
It would be a good thing.
But yeah, I'll thank you for summarizing that for me, Domingo. You captured my thoughts well. I'm sorry if I wasn't clear. You know, this is like my second time to visiting one of these spaces, and so again, I'll put my information in. I do this work all the time, and I'll be happy to be an ally and support.
We appreciate it. Yes. So, and last, I wanted to say this is outside the committee, independently from our meeting. I want to organize, as I did in the past, when Pamela used to be our chair, to organize the conversation for an update or for community update between charter school and the traditional school system. This is going to be, again, a panel discussion that I envision that we can have, again, that conversation. I propose that we should have this in March, Saturday. We can have this in one of the public schools. I can look for the space. We can have this with where we had it before. We had it with Columbia. In one of the location, and I definitely think this is a very important and overdue conversation that we need to have for an update where we are, these two systems, where we are in terms of this. I want to thank Jacob for you know also approving the idea. I don't know, Domingo, if you have any objection that we have that outside discussion. This is not an agenda.
My
This
thing is,
event.
Faye, as somebody who works in a school, we also have to take into consideration that these kids are testing. Remember that until the second week of April, you're looking at kids like if we really want to be genuine about the conversation, it's like we also can't oversaturate too many conversations. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it becomes more about having events than it does become about creating spaces where issues are addressed and corrected. So we have to make that decision of like, are we going to have 20 different conversations, or are we going to get one right, follow up, and hopefully impact change? And I'm the type of person that I like to impact change. So it's not that I disagree, but I know that there's a lot going on in March and April when it comes to testing. And the last thing we want to do is create another burden to families by engaging them when they're already being super engaged by the schools.
Well, but this is a conversation that, in my opinion, it's about, look, let me say this. Recently, in December, we discussed, I think it was in December that we discussed this. And next thing we know, or I learned, is that a few weeks ago, the governor actually picked on this subject. He spoke about charter school, how charter school are doing. And I think that we as a committee already having this conversation and not having any reason discussion about how they are doing, how the school system is doing. I think
the reason the governor spoke about it, is because there's legislation that's trying to remove the cap on the amount of charter schools that are allowed in the state. So that's why there's a lot of conversations around charter school, because there currently is legislation that removes the cap. As I hope everybody knows, there's not the reason that there's not more charter schools is because there's a cap, even though there seems that there's a lot. So the governor's currently being lobbied, and there's legislation around removing that cap.
All right, so let's see. Okay, so you think that we should have, when do you think that, well, I'm proposing that we bring this event. And again, it's not going to affect our meeting, because it's not having during our meeting, but just a discussion separate outside the committee meeting. on a Saturday, I'm proposing that I can definitely, with your assistant, if you have the time, or any other, board members can help us to organize this. And definitely, I will throw myself into this as well, and be responsible as I know how to be. So I personally think that this conversation is important. We should have it. And all that I hope is that if that you think about it, so we can have this in March, in the first week of March. We can have it actually on Saturday, March 4. I can bring this conversation or propose this conversation to have it at, at one of the, if we can get the space like Columbia or the George Washington, if we can get the space, we can definitely bring a panel discussion to find out what is the status, what they are doing, the progress, the many school that the many student that the school system is losing to charter school, how well they are doing. All these things are important information the parents ought to know. I might be clueless in many things that I personally think that we ought to know. So I can definitely, all that I'm asking is whether or not, it's okay with you that part of us that already said that they are in agreement can, we can have this conversation on the side. Remember, this has nothing to do with having this in our agenda and the committee agenda outside. So Jacob is in favor. Maria, what do you think?
I said to you before, I am not committing myself to anything on a Saturday. Sorry.
Okay.
I have my basketball program on Saturdays and Sundays, from 11 to 6 on Saturdays and from 2 to 8 on Sundays. So unfortunately, weekends is tough for me.
Okay, and let me ask you a question. Let's say that other board members might be willing to help us, because what I will ask for you is just if you can attend. Do you have objection? Do you have your objection? Let's say that you, for some reason, you cannot
This is not.
attend on a
It
Saturday.
wouldn't be committee business, because what we're doing on March is bullying, according to the
Yes,
matrix. So
yes.
so if we're gonna do this, it has, like you said, it has nothing to do with us. So what does it matter?
No, what I'm saying is that this is not going to be like an agenda, like an event that is going to be placed in our committee meeting, like a regular agenda. This is just an outside event. You know what I mean? Let's say like we decide to put a resource fair. We're not going to have a resource fair as an agenda in our, let's say, in our committee meeting. If we decide collectively that we're going to have a resource fair to invite the community, that would be an outside event. So what I'm saying,
but an outside event that's being planned by the committee. Like, this is not even planned by the committee. That's what I'm trying to get to. Like, if we were to do a fair, there would be an item on the agenda that states planning fair, right? So obviously everything that's planned, it results in the culmination of a fair. We're not planning anything right now. March is next month. We haven't even discussed this yet. Like, one thing we have discussed is what you said with the different topics and engaging conversations every month around bullying and other items. But we can't just say a month prior, like, hey, look, by the way, in 2 weeks, we're having a conversation on charter schools, when that is a very important, like, my thing, Faiz, and my humble opinion, sometimes slow is good because you get it right. And when you rush and put a lot of things on the table at the same time, you drop the ball. Like, you see the juggling, how they juggle multiple things. When you add too many things, it just, and we don't want to lose the essence of this committee to be like, okay, youth and education, what they're going to have, another conversation about nothing, like they're just going to romanticize this notion of being knowledgeable around subjects, but not doing anything to benefit or impact the community. So that's something that we have to be very cautious on when we become too event oriented and we don't necessarily put the next steps to follow up on the information we're receiving. We have to be very cautious, because if we don't, all we're going to do is have events for the sake of having events. And that's in a community that needs resources, that needs advocates. I think it's a messed up thing to do. And that's my personal opinion.
Okay, last thing that I wanted to add is that this is a conversation that we started months ago. I just decided to volunteer that particular information and propose that information to the committee to include it in the matrix. But I think that now it's a very appropriate time to have this conversation. I really feel strong about having this event. But I understand, but you don't necessarily have to be in agreement. And all that I'm asking is exactly whether or not you're viewed on this. But I think this is an event that it should happen. It's an important conversation because we are not having what events are.
You're the chair, you do whatever you want. But remember, at the end of the day, you got to vote for what you want too. It's not a dynamic where I do whatever I want and I use the committee's name just because I'm the chair. It doesn't work like that.
Who says that?
Well, what you're saying is that you feel very strong about it, and in other words, you're gonna do it, right?
No.
The way this works is if you feel very strong about it, put it to the vote. You have committee members and they vote on it.
No, I'm not saying that. You misinterpreted my saying. What I'm saying is that I feel strong about this conversation is because it's an ongoing conversation everywhere right now. Charter schools are growing immensely. Traditional system is complaining. People are talking about, government is talking about. What is a good or bad thing? I think we ought to be informed. And this is all about to get educated about what is going on. That's all I'm saying. That's why I feel strong, because the conversation is a Latin topic right now. If you say, because you already expressed your opinion, I highly respect that. But under no circumstances, I wanted you to say, which I think it would be unfair, that I am going to. I have not said that. I express why I feel strong because I see the need for the conversation.
So my apologies if I misinterpreted, but that's what I interpreted.
Well, okay.
Can I interject? This is Maria. I don't think we are getting to any place with this thing. I believe that, with all due respect, Domingo came off with a valid point. He just understood that you said you're going to do it on March something. Fed, this is, and you said that it had nothing to do with the committee, but you are, applying for support. So I just don't know where we get into this thing. I'm sorry, let me just finish, please, dear. Sure. Because it's 10 o'clock and we have 45 minutes on this issue.
Okay.
45 minutes, I've been timing this thing. If you want to do this event, just go ahead and do it. Domingo said he cannot, help. I said I cannot help. And I just, you're asking for the other committee members. No one have said yes, no, and whatever. So I think that this is a mute issue right now. I'm sorry, I need to leave.
Okay, we are not getting into close in the next 3 minutes.
I think that I support if we're going to do the bullying in March, I support that. And I hope that you have enough information to do a presentation about bullying, because bullying is not about just young people. Bullying is about people bullying gays, people bullying seniors, people bullying sins, all kinds of things about, encompass the bullying word. So I'm sorry, I don't think that this is leading up to anything. And I agree with that.
Just final question on the bullying. Okay, so let's continue this conversation whether or not you wanted to have the bullying. You already say that you're willing to have the bullying. Are you willing to invite folks to be part of the bullying?
No,
Yes.
no. I don't get too much, knowledge about bullying. As I remember, I am not in that type of environment, the young people and things like that. So I don't know. The bullying will have to come, the police department, some of those agencies that can, contribute to this issue. But I'm sorry, I just don't know, how to.
You cannot invite no one. How about you, Domingo? Can you cooperate and invite someone for the bullying if you want bullying to take place?
And because I feel like I'm talking too much, Jacob has his hand up, and there's somebody in the public who's writing in the messenger that wants to speak as well.
No, but just say yes or no. If you're willing to just help to bring anyone.
I will help, but I would also like to add a budgetary item. The budget is due in April for the city. And I think as youth and education, I think it's very important for us to start engaging in that conversation around that as well.
Okay, very good. I look forward to that. Yes, Jacob.
Come back to me for a second. Sorry.
Correction, the state. I'm sorry. It was the state, not the city.
All right. Tanisha?
Yeah, I just wanted to offer some insight. I have to say, as a community member, someone who lives on Sugar Hill, AKA Washington Heights, for 47 years, I'm a little disturbed. Y'all don't know what's going on with the charter school and y'all youth and education committee? Let me enlighten you. Last year, we spent $3 billion on charter schools. We spent $200 million on 142 co-located charter schools in our public school buildings. It is a big issue. It is a lot of advocates out here like me that are fighting for our public school education system, and it is so disrespectful what I am hearing. See, as part of the public, as part of the community, yes, we absolutely should be knowing what's going on with this charter school fight. If the legislation, it is a problem. We are going to the caucus to talk about it. And it is very disheartening to hear on this committee, y'all don't even know what's going on. Charter schools, the problem with charter schools is that they use public school dollars. It is a part of the reason why our public schools are the way they are, why they are so underfunded. We are the only place in the state that pays charter school rent. And I'm going to leave it there. And I'm going to respectfully ask, as a community member, that everyone on this youth and education committee find out what's going on with the charter school fight, because it is a very big part of your job and is a very big part of what's going on in our community.
Thank you, Tanisha. Yes, Jacob.
Tanisha, I appreciate your passion on the issue. And I think that speaks to the point that the debate we're having here as the community board members is the importance of having that discussion publicly and in front of, not just in this meeting, but in a broader capacity for members of the public to come and hear about the issues. Not because we don't know, but because members of the community and parents may not know. And I believe that that's the purpose of the panel that Faye is trying to put together. And what I wanted to say is, Faye, I think it is worth having a larger event outside of this meeting as part of bringing, the community's attention to that, especially in light of the governor's proposed legislation or comments on legislation. What I wanted to add was, I think because that legislation is still in the works, perhaps we may want to, I think Domingo raises some valid concerns about making sure that that event is planned well and that the members of this committee are able to help. I'm certainly able to help. I hear Domingo and Maria are not necessarily able to help on a weekend. Maybe we don't rush into that conversation on March 4th, but perhaps we take a little bit more time. Domingo says, maybe when kids are not testing, maybe we can take time to plan a little bit more, but I do think it's, a necessary and important conversation.
Thank you. I thought that Jason had his friend. Okay. Well, I guess that we are going to leave it as that. Domingo, your hands is up.
No, so back to that like what I was saying, Faye, we just need to create the space where we do that intentionally, right? Like you hear the passionate members of the community speaking on it. As somebody this is my second meeting in this committee, right? Like it's unfortunate, right, that we don't know what the biggest battle in the state is right now. And that's because we need to be able to immerse ourselves in engaging these individuals who are in the forefront advocating for education, get updates from organizations that are up in Albany, because there's a lot of them up here. So it's like, that was why my suggestion, that takes time. We can't just tell somebody, hey, in 2 weeks we're doing this and expect them to open up their calendars to us. So if we're able to engage, look, like you're saying, we're going to do this next month, but we got bullying next month. And it's not to say that we can't do both. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think it's about being strategic and really putting ourselves in a position of, if we're engaging in this conversation, what's the intentional goal that we seek from this? It's not just about submerging you in information, but let's be an outlet to the organizations advocating for this and be like, hey, look, we got a group of parents who agree with your argument and would love to be advocates and advocate for their public schools. So that's what I'm trying to get to. It's not just, oh, let's not do it. It's let's do it for a purpose so that we serve a pathway and we engage community-based organizations and we engage everybody doing the work, because obviously we're not.
Well, let me tell you this that maybe might be helpful to share with you. Since last year, I've been speaking about this. I have hypothetically had the discussion with outside folks that participated already on this event when we had it back in 2011. Flat Size is one of them that might be willing to participate. A space is not a problem. We can say that we can get the space. Literally, we can get the space. The space is no problem. The folks, depending on this conversation, I can always just come back and say, well, this is what the committee would like to see the conversation. Bringing all these folks together, bringing the same panel we have, it won't be a problem, because they are in position to probably revise this conversation. It's just a matter of telling them, okay, we would like to have a conversation. Former board members is waiting to whether or not your view on this discussion. So it's not that we're going to start from scratch. So I had conversation about viewing this possibility. It's just so matter that, you guys, collecting your views and how do you feel about this. But again, I want to just leave you with the idea that I feel strong about this, because I think that this has been a conversation that has gone silent, and we need to be updated and many things related to both systems. And I think that the community will appreciate this type of conversation. That's all I'm saying. And I'm willing to work along with all of you, to make that happen. That's all. I guess that, Jason, did you raise your hand?
Yeah, I think we're a little past the topic, but I just want to sort of echo, I guess, Domingo's sentiment around just the strategy piece, because with the charters, I think there's a lot not being said about like how with the funding piece, but also with enrollment being down across the city, it's really impacting public schools even harder. And I mean, we had School in the Square on the screen earlier in the evening, and I couldn't help but think about, with them even opening up another space, that's taken away from public school seats and funding. And schools are looking at being collapsed right now. It's just really bad across the city, and I think that's leading to a lot of kids feeling underserved, which again leads to bullying and some of the other outcomes that, you know, we were talking about in terms of the topics for the board. So I'm just wondering, like, could we be strategic and yeah, even leveraging what we want to prioritize, and how we really look at the core issues in our community.
Well, I thank you, Jason. I just wanted to add that the planning and all the strategy that we used previously, they are in place. It's just matter that we sit down and discuss it with you, since we have new members that are, you know, are not aware exactly what we did back in 2011. Cynthia, are you want to say something? I see you have your hands up. Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, I think I actually do remember that 2011 panel. I was actually a committee member for youth and education at the time. And, you know, I just to say, right, like that, I think that it's important for us to also be really mindful of the fact that we have, you know, a lot of parents in our community who work part of advocacy for charter schools, right? I think that it is part of our landscape, right? And I think not all charters are all the same way not all public schools are the same, right? And so I think that it's important for us to definitely have that conversation, definitely look at what is the full landscape of our educational choices here in the city. And so, you know, want to highlight, you know, Domingo's fact around like, let's build this, right? Like when we have 1 in 10 children in our neighborhood going to a charter school, like I think that there is a lot of space there, right? And to, you know, be honest about like what if the push is for against co-location, then let's point that out. I guess I just want to make sure that there is space for us to all share what the reality is as well.
Thank you, Cynthia. All right. With that said, I think that we let's prepare to adjourn our meeting. So with no further question, I'm sorry that it took longer than it was supposed to, but it's that can tells you that that how this conversation can be. And this is only just a discussion proposing when we should have this. So imagine the actual conversation, what would be. All right, with that in mind, so I guess that we will continue our conversation via email. Let's see what we can pull. So I want to call this meeting to order.
Julio,
to adjourn the meeting.
Before we do that,
yes,
I saw Julio Batista was on the I don't know that he spoke at all, but anyway, I just noted that
I didn't see his raise. He's still with us. He's still with us. I was wondering. I acknowledge him.
And Faye, Miss Grant also has her hand up as well.
Oh, somebody. Okay, let's see who. Oh.
No, I didn't have my hand up, but I was supposed to lower it. But thank you, because I just want to, Cynthia, you know, it's not about charter schools being good or public schools being good. It's about the fact that charter schools eat up a lot of public school dollars. That is the whole problem for us. That if you got a good charter school, that's fine. It's thriving, the kids love it, the families love it, that's fine. But public school dollars should not be paying the rent. That's the problem.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess this is it. All right, so let's call a motion to adjourn the meeting at 10:20. I want to thank you, all of you, for your time. And I don't know if I should apologize for going beyond, but you know, I guess we all did it collectively. So it was a very interesting conversation. So I want to thank you so much. So call a motion to adjourn the meeting at 10:20. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Domingo. Second. All right. Thank you all for your time.